Hello everyone, welcome to What If Naruto Was Hellhound in Hazbin Hotel Part 1. Before we start, please go support marioiale for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Naruto is a male. Chapter 1. Happy Hotel Guard Bloodhound. Heck, they say just about everyone ends up down there these days. From the lowest of the low to the morally betrayed. From those who were saints in a previous life and were doing what was best for everyone in the long run to those who just didn't care and committed cruel acts just for the hell of it. Our protagonist thought as he jumped from the roof of a blood-covered building to the one he was standing next to, keeping his eyes open for a certain someone. But even when this happens, the purge helps cleanse hell of lost souls and decreases its population each year. Honestly, it got to the point where certain events were playing out to help lessen the annual purge and hopefully give people some hope. The streets he looked down upon were covered in body parts and soaked in blood. Demons of all classes, except royals and those of a similar nature, were helping with the cleanup since the angels left after making this giant mess. Our protagonist's ears twitched when he heard a familiar sound, causing him to look down the road to see a crappy car pull up to the side of the road and a hexy guy get out. This man had 4 arms, white fur, a bust with great appeal, and a white and pink top that added more attention to his chest. The man had long boots like heels on his feet and carried himself like the definition of hexy. However, one of the most notable features about him was his eyes. One was red with a black background and the other was red with a white background. His hair had pink highlights to complement his white fur, and he had a heart on the back of his head. This was Angel Dust, a well-known porn star in hell. And I found Angel, and he just sold himself for cash. The protagonist thought with a mental palm and an audible sigh before jumping off the building, landing safely on the ground. So make sure your wife knows I appreciate the money. Angel Dust replied as he stuffed the cash into his chest. Yeah, redeeming yourself for my ass. The demon inside the car rolled his eyes. Hey, he was horny, and his wife didn't want to give it to him. So, a couple of bucks for a hookup with this jerk was worth more than getting his rocks off. Angel smiled as he watched the car drive away and blew a kiss as he pulled out the cash to count it, making sure his lapse in rehabilitation was worth it. Man, I really need this, my reputation was about to take a hit. Angel thought before walking up to a machine, and was about to put in the money until he heard a cough and froze. You know Charlie would beat you up for going back to your treatment, right? Slowly turning his head, Angel smiles fearfully. Hey Naruto, how's it going, man? There was our protagonist. Naruto was a man who stood around 6 feet 7 inches but was more distinct than Angel. Where Angel was a spider-themed demon, Naruto was a hellhound. Like most hellhounds, he resembled a wolf with white and gray fur, a wild, spiky mane that was bright yellow running down his back, and a long, snout-like face that displayed a scowl. He didn't wear shoes, showing off his digitigrade-like legs with clawed feet along with the claws on his sharp, black hands. Naruto's ears were perked up showing the white insides, with his left ear missing its tip due to losing it long ago. His long, bushy tail swung confidently along the ground. His choice of attire consists of a black and gray skull shirt with a pentagram on the back, skinny black jeans, and an orange watch. No one knows why he wore the watch, but his only response is, "It's a little nostalgic for a life I lost." Everyone knew better than to push the subject after that point. But the most distinctive feature that caught Angel's attention and told her his current mood was his eyes. Unlike most hellhounds, Naruto didn't have the red eyes they were used to, but rather blue ones. One could see the slits within them and the power that dwelled beneath them. Come on, man! Angel gestured with his hands. You're really going to keep me from getting excited. I mean, Charlie already does it, and with the Mexican Cyclops there, it's even more damning. Naruto sighed as he shook his head at Angel's comments. Look, I understand they can be stifling at times, but they really want something better for you. If you really talk things through with them, we might be able to come to some compromises. Naruto offered as he looked at the spider. Yeah, right. Angel mocked, brushing his hair out of his eyes with one of his right hands. A small growl made Angel throw his hands around in panic. Okay, but what am I supposed to do with this? Angel said, waving the cash. You know the moment I show them this, they'll know what I did. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck. Look, don't worry. You having Hex isn't a big deal. They'll be mad, yes, but they won't rip your head off for one slip. Naruto smiles slightly. Besides, we both know that completely cutting out vices in hell is an incredible order. Angel smiled and laughed. Damn, I just needed something to loosen the edge. Oh? Naruto pulled an orange phone out of his pants and scrolled down a blog site. You mean you didn't want to argue against some of these posts then? Naruto flipped his phone over, and Angel looked at the screen. It showed messages about him disappearing and how he's apparently going straight, cleaning up his act and not offering his services. Angel's face wrinkled with disgust and fear. Of course, Valentino is sharing this information, Angel thought, thinking about how the man he called Dad scared him, while his anger grew at the damage his reputation was taking. I can't waste this opportunity to go straight ahead, but my reputation being tarnished is not something I will allow. Angel turned his attention back to Naruto as the Hellhound glared at him. Yes. That might have influenced my decision more. Angel snorted slightly. Naruto shook his head and scrolled through his phone a little more before taking something out and showing it to Angel. That? Just look, idiot. Okay, gee, a flea crawled dash. Naruto gave him a dark look and smiled. Finish that sentence, I dare you. Angel threw up his hands. Who was he to piss off someone who was elevating the status of Hellhounds in Hell? Looking at the screen, he saw that it was Charlie, the Princess of Hell. Mobile phone. I'm Katie Killjoy, and today we have a special guest, Charlotte Magna, our boss's daughter. Katie said, irritation seeping into her voice. So, Charlotte, what is this passion project you're so excited about? Charlie, actually. Charlie said nervously as he looked from Katie to the camera. As you know, we just had our annual purge, but since I was born here, I can't help but feel sad about the loss of life. Katie tapped her fingers on the desk as Tom Trench listened politely, but apprehensively. So, after many years of watching my people being killed to make room here in Hell, I came up with a solution. Charlie said passionately, looking at something or someone off-screen, smiling. I've devised a way to help redeem people so they can go to heaven. Angel and Naruto witnessed Charlie show off his singing talent as he sang about the Happy Hotel. She really likes to sing, although that doesn't make her seem mature. Angel replied, trying to hide the fact that she liked the song. Shut up and watch. Naruto continued as he held the phone in front of them, watching Katie and Tom along with the crowd burst into laughter at the idea of Charlie's rehabilitation. Naruto frowned at the words Katie said to Charlie, but felt happy when Charlie let go of her sass. We have a participant, someone known as Angel Dust, Charlie said as he sat down at the desk in a fashionable manner. You mean the porn star? Tom asked excitedly. Buck Tom. Katie swore as she glanced back at her co-host before returning to Charlie. It's not a huge leap for your plan. You could pay that hooker to do anything with enough cocaine and lube. Charlie snorted, standing up and looking Katie in the eyes. Angel has been doing well the last 2 weeks. He's started acting well and has been clean for 2 weeks, she said confidently. While Angel felt a surge of pride in the fact that he made Charlie happy, there was another part of him that argued that he shouldn't have to make anyone but himself happy. Seeing the conflicting emotions in Angel's eyes, Naruto put the phone away. Angel, don't you see? Charlie thinks you can do better than this. Why do you think she took you out of there? Out of that man's reach? Naruto said, trying to urge Angel to follow a better path. Angel looked at the ground and felt sick. He was taking advantage of Charlie's generosity to live rent-free at the hotel. While it was true, he could get a room with anyone desperate enough, he knew it wasn't for the long term. He'd be used and abused again, and at some point, he'd be kicked to the curb, and Valentino would find him. At least Charlie was trying to be there for me instead of me being there for her. Angel thought it was refreshing, but her ego wouldn't let it show. Plus, she got me out of service with Valentino, so that was more than enough for me to try her whole redemption thing. Yeah, well, Angel blew her hair out of her face again. I can't do exactly what she wants to the letter. I mean, give up everything. She twisted her hair in frustration. It goes against everything I know. Naruto shook his head. Then tell him this. Don't be vague and rude. Actually tell him this. Then maybe you two can come to some compromises about what needs to be done so that you'll commit to the hotel, he said, placing his hand comfortingly on Angel's shoulder. Yeah, I dash. Angel started before an explosion erupted, and the two looked up and saw a blimp flying by and someone laughing in the distance. Naruto groaned as he rolled his eyes at the airship. That snake-like Hina's head, who for some reason has an obsession with eggs, maybe because he lost his balls, is causing trouble again, Naruto said before turning to the side and saw someone throwing bombs and shooting at the blimp. And your girlfriend seems to be having a battle with him. Really, Cherry Bomba? Angel exclaimed happily. Then it's time to have fun. Naruto pointed a clawed finger at him and pointed it at his eye. You're not going to do a damn thing. He glared at him, and Angel glared back. Why not? Simple. Charlie's doing that interview on the news, and while I don't think Hell will take it as seriously as his father didn't, you acting up and getting caught on camera won't help at all. Naruto argued convincingly. The hotel will be seen as a bigger joke, and that's something I won't allow. You just dash. Naruto grabbed him by the front of his jacket and growled, his eyes glowing. Do I look like I'm joking, furry porn ad? Naruto growled, baring his fangs at the spider, who backed away from Naruto. No, but you can't expect me to let my best friend die alone? Angel demanded. Naruto couldn't believe the things coming out of Angel's mouth. She's as strong as an overlord, isn't she? She can handle herself. It's not the first time she's defeated that idiot on her own. Naruto replied. Angel looked over and saw Cherry dodging attacks and bombs exploding all over the place as the Egg Boys attacked her. Naruto, please! Angel pleaded as she grabbed Naruto's jacket. She's strong, but I don't want to let the possibility of her getting killed happen. The young man looked over and saw the spider demon pleading. Damn his bleeding heart, he really should charge for this. Charlie's going to kill me for this. Naruto thought as he removed Angel's hands from his clothes. Head to the damn street, the limo is waiting for you. Get in and head to the hotel and I'll try to cover your shit up here today. Naruto said as he prepared for the fight and then the disappointment he would receive from Vaggie and Charlie. What? What the dash? Angel watched Naruto turn towards the fight and start walking towards her. Charlie's going to kill me for this later, but at this point, if it means that much to you, I'll help her. Naruto said in a rare tone of compassion. But this means you have to commit to the program and talk to Charlie about commitments, understood? Angel smiled as he felt a great relief. While I knew he was making an excuse, it was nice to see the young hellhound who scared him when he first arrived at the hotel and tried to get laid. What I don't blame him for is that he's cute. He has a good heart in a place like hell. Okay, just make sure Cherry's okay. Angel said before walking towards the limo, not hearing the sigh Naruto let out. I really need to start charging more for stuff like this. Naruto muttered before stretching his legs a bit before starting to run as he skipped towards the Carnage News studio. Vaggie was watching how things unfolded. Honestly, it was worrying. I thought with the turf war going on, Angel would screw this up for us. Vaggie thought as she looked down at her phone, keeping an eye on the turf war. But there are no reports of him, so the hotel is safe. Vaggie looked up and saw Katie insulting Charlie's dream, which she had been doing for approximately 10 minutes with Charlie responding with gradually worsening anger. Oh yeah, and the reporter's a hitch I'd strangle, but Charlie looks like he could do that for me. Vaggie thought as she frowned, her bowed head tapering to resemble curved horns. Oh yeah, princess? I'm not surprised you're using Angel this way. She smiled darkly, and Charlie raised an eyebrow at this. I mean, we all know how you royals exploited the Hellhound breed in the past. How can you talk about reform when you're using one of your own to safeguard your little place? Pontificating all that rehabilitation bullshit while repeating the work of your ancestors. How shameful. Charlie, in a moment of comprehension, transformed slightly. His horns revealed themselves, his scarab became swollen, and without warning, he slammed the reporters' heads against the desk, shattering it upon impact. Don't you dare talk about him like some kind of pet again. I'll be sure to tear your soul to shreds. Turning to the camera crew, he glared at them, drawing someone to the back with a grin on his face and his red eyes focused on the debacle. It was the funniest thing he'd seen in a long time. That pet, as you call him, is someone very special, and someone worthy of praise, unlike your hitch. In fact, he's done great things in hell on his own terms. Charlie continued, having lost sight of his goal. The news soon caught Katie's eye, waving. Pressing her finger against the receiver in her ear, she received a message and smiled. Oh? Your beloved pet is causing a scene today! Snapping their fingers, the group turned the screen to show a hoodie-clad hellhound running across the ceiling dodging explosions and bombs thrown at him, along with a Cyclops woman holding bombs. Live! The hellhound that unified the hounds and is now serving the Magna family appears to be fighting with a resident genius, Serpentius. Tom announced as the station ignored Charlie's segment, while focusing on the turf war. Oh shit, Charlie and Vaggie said in shock as they watched Naruto on the screen dodge an oncoming blast and phase through an egg boy heading straight for him. Another demonstration of your reform act, dear princess? Katie asked with sick, malicious enjoyment as Charlie's flame of anger died down. Charlie sighed, embarrassment, and concern on her face as she watched Naruto chew on an egg boy, its yolk center bursting in his mouth before catching a blast released by the cherry bomb, launching it with enough force to break the blimp's steel shaft, detonating on impact. On the contrary, it's more about doing her own thing. After all, she's free to do whatever she wants if it fits her beliefs, and she's most likely helping this woman as a request," Charlie said, regaining her confidence. "Don't forget that, or you seem to be forgetting what true beauty is after all." Hitch. This angered Katie, which made Tom freak out, but then they heard an explosion and they crashed, turning their heads to the screen. Naruto is standing on the wreckage of the blimp that had fallen to the ground, and Sir Pentious came out. Pentious charged at Naruto, who dodged his attack with a simple sidestep and slashed at him with his claws. The snake snarled and lashed out again, but sadly missed as it disappeared in a flash of silver and appeared above him. "Eat shit, you snake monster!" The audience watched, and his body turned red with his eyes now reddened. "Get this fast! This is a historic moment to see the legendary Royal Hellhound using his powers!" Katie shouted loudly. Charlie looked over and his eyes moved nervously. "You're going to be a mess when I get home," Charlie thought as she sat down angrily. "Idiot, Charlie's going to be really mad about this," Vaggie thought as she shook her head. "Meanwhile, I just want to get this shit over with before it becomes a spectacle again," Naruto thought as he was drenched in blood and egg yolk, which was starting to stink and hurt his sense of smell. In a matter of seconds he slashed his red claws, causing the snake to scream in pain and explode in a shower of blood and guts. Naruto simply rolled his shoulders, turning his head towards Cherry. "I'll charge you for my services later," Naruto told his acquaintance before jumping off to head back to the hotel. "All right, nah," Cherry replied with a huge smile as she watched Naruto leave. "Now, to stake my claim on this territory." Back in the news studio. "Well, there you have it, demons and Hellborn. We have just witnessed another case of the legendary Hellhound taking Hell by storm. Dating back to when he was 13, he began taking down powerful figures across Hell until at the age of 16 he became an uncrowned overlord after killing the former overlord Apios, the Monkey King," Katie announced, the news station ignoring Charlie completely. "He is leading the reformation and raising the status of Hellhounds in Hell and is becoming one of the top demons, for anyone he kills will gain a large following and support for years to come. Not only was he voted Bachelor of the Year for 6 years running, but he is known as the princess's personal attack dog." Charlie, tired of hearing this, finally transforms completely and without warning, jumps on Katie and pushes her against the wall, breaking it. "That's not my dog, that's not my pet, that's my son, damn it!" Charlie yelled without warning, throwing Katie across the room, sparking a massive fight that lasted for an hour before Charlie and Vaggie left the building. "The hotel isn't the target of this mess, but this whole mess had Angel's name on it, that's for sure," Vaggie told Charlie, taking her hand as they walked toward the limo. "And that stupid bloodhound is also attached to this mess. For God's sake, killing Pentious wasn't a good example of your dream," Vaggie yelled as she got into the limo. That night, happy hotel lobby. "Seriously, son, did you have to do that on live TV during the commercial?" Charlie asked Naruto, who was squatting down with a small note that said punishment. "Well, I was wearing a hoodie to hide my identity," Naruto replied before Charlie glared at him. "That was a piece of shit to hide," Charlie responded vehemently, taking a deep breath. "Geez, calm down, it was better if I did it than Angel, right?" Naruto said, drawing attention to Angel, who was walking through the hotel lobby at that moment. The spider demon froze as Charlie turned his eyes on him and glared. He gulped as Vaggie played with her spear. "Oh, and what were you doing outside the hotel?" Naruto rolled his eyes and took out his phone and fiddled with it while Angel sweated from the attention. "I could have had a moment of weakness and had Hex and bought some drugs," Angel admitted nervously. Charlie sighed as Vaggie groaned. "Bucking idiot! Do you know what that could do to the hotel, especially during the broadcast? It would have made us a bucking joke, you bastard!" Vaggie shouted angrily as she summoned her spear. Naruto rolled his eyes and grabbed Vaggie by the shoulder, holding her tight as his eyes remained on his phone. "Calm down, Vaggie. It's not like most of them didn't take the hotel seriously to begin with. I mean, most of the inhabitants weren't going to take us seriously anyway, but at least this way we can cover up Angel going out and saying it was a day off during his rehab and that he was just taking advantage of it or something." Naruto typed something on his phone. "We can save face that way, and plus me fighting the stupid snake idiot and killing him sends a clear message to the overlords and alike that this hotel is not an easy target, and unless they're here for treatment, we'll be sending them packing." Yes, but dash, hey! Everyone turned to Angel, who sighed. Look, I'm sorry for what I did, okay? Naruto already lectured me about it, and honestly, I understand that my screw-up was due to my ego and years of abuse. But you two can't expect me to drop every single shit cold turkey. That's how you send your body into shock. Charlie, having calmed down a bit, sat down on the sofa, while Angel sat in an armchair opposite her. Continue, Charlie urged, willing to listen to Angel. I know it was a lot to ask, but you have to understand, Angel, we have to start somewhere, and you have to be willing to follow through. Naruto rolled his eyes. This very conversation. Charlie really wants her way no matter what, no matter how demonic she is, and that's something I'm familiar with given that she was the same way when she found me. Naruto thought with a smile, which contained both fondness and disdain. Flashback. Naruto, 6 years old, was looking for food in some trash cans at the entrance of an alley between two apartment buildings. He was hungry and it had been 2 days since he ate, and even then, it wasn't much. The tip of his left ear was missing, his fur was covered in blood as the wound became infected, and he was wearing rags that barely covered his body. How long have I been here? Naruto thought as he looked around in paranoia while continuing to search for food, his tail between his legs twitching in fear. I guess since I was sent to this place the village was right, I am a demon. The moment he first opened his eyes in this world, in a Hellhound orphanage on the outer edge of the Ring of Gluttony, Naruto was told that he had been called none other than a Hellhound. They are seen as lower than other demons, so he is seen as trash or something to be trained and disciplined. Well, the matron who ran the orphanage quickly realized he wasn't like most, even with his blue eyes. Which, other Hellhounds told her, would make him valuable to someone in the recruitment business and the like. Naruto was introduced to other Hellhound children of various ages, and because of his eyes, Naruto was bullied. The matron did not stop the violence the children inflicted upon him, and in a fit of rage, Naruto killed the matron, earning him praise from the other children as they simply stole his things and began living there while Naruto wandered off, not wanting to have his life tied to the place. While he had thought he could sustain his life on his own, hell proved him wrong every time. The strongest case for his inability to survive was the fact that he witnessed the purge, only surviving because he curled up in a ball beneath the corpses, holding his breath as the angels stood nearby, playing dead, leading to his current situation. That happened once, and I'm not going through that mess again, Naruto thought as he was hit over the head with a full trash bag, courtesy of someone in the building dumping trash from the 4th floor. The bag opened and revealed half-eaten food and fruit. Without hesitation, Naruto grabbed whatever he could and began to shove it into his mouth. I'm going to die here, he thought, forgetting that he had already died once, and that was why he was here. As he continued to devour the food, his ears perked up when he heard a squeal, and when he turned his head out of the can, he saw a white limousine. It had stopped by the entrance to the alley, and he was confused for a second and prepared to run. A while back, some weirdos had tried to capture him, saying he was an excellent pet. Whatever it was, he was sure it had something to do with him losing his identity, and said, "Fuck that noise." Fortunately, he was like most men and had a kick in the balls, and was low enough to run. The limo door opened, and a pale-skinned girl with blonde hair and golden eyes stepped out. She seemed to have a smile on her face and emitted a powerful aura. She was dressed in a figure-hugging purple dress and had things on her cheeks and fangs in her mouth. She walked toward him with a smile on her face, crouching down to his level to get a good look at him. "Yes?" Naruto asked, ready to attack quickly and then flee if necessary. Naruto looked at the girl, but within seconds he found himself held under her armpits in front of her. "Aren't you adorable?" She hugged him tightly, making him squeal in pain and feel his ribs crack. "Be breath." "Oh, sorry." She held the boy close to her but loosened her grip. "I've never seen a hellhound like you before. One with blue eyes, I mean." She bumped his nose, making him grunt, making her laugh before looking at his left ear. "Oh, your ear is bleeding and it's probably infected. Could you please put me down?" "No." Without waiting, he returned to his car and sat in his seat. "Xavier, take me home. This little one needs a bath, some medical treatment, and some grooming." Naruto raised an eyebrow. "What are you talking about? I didn't agree with this." "Yes, my lady." "My lady?" Naruto thought in paranoia, staying as far away from this woman as possible after she let him into the limo, but he couldn't get out due to the child's safety locks being on. After driving for a bit, Naruto found himself being led to the house. He tried to jump out of the car when the door opened, but she quickly caught him and held him in her lap the entire time. This bothered him, as it seemed she was stronger than he expected. Looking up, he saw a castle of some kind, sitting almost in the center of a large, pentagon-shaped city. Looking at the building, he could sense that the place held great significance, and that the girl lived here. Something instinctive and the fact that they stopped in front of the house could have given it away. Entering the house, the girl carried him in her arms before the maids and butlers with different forms bowed and welcomed the girl home, Charlie, for what she had gathered. She's a noble, Naruto thought, remembering the rumors he heard back in the orphanage about nobles wasn't pleasant. Especially since some of them saw the trash demons of his kind as nothing more than playthings for their own amusement. What does this hitch want from me? A pet? Force me to fight? Torture me? All right, I'll give you a bath first, and then I'll take you to meet my parents, Charlie declared as she pushed him toward the large tub. Naruto looked at her with a blank expression, which hid his confusion. When did I agree to this? Naruto asked, speaking after so much time and trying to sound intimidating. She smiled and hugged him closer. Oh, you're so precious and cute. I can't wait to see what kind of demon you'll become in the future. Oh, maybe one day you can help me with my dream, Charlie said with stars in her eyes. Naruto tuned her out at this point as she seemed to be rambling on about different things here and there, and some things related to this dream of hers. Honestly, I just wanted to eat and find a safe place to sleep, Naruto thought before Charlie handed him over to a servant before he entered the large bath, had his rags removed, and was placed in warm water. His bristly fur rubbed hard, and he got a filth on his face that he never smelled before. After a few minutes, he dropped it on the floor, and it dried to the point where he was sure his fur had never felt so clean, so soft and fluffy. Naruto thought for the first time since arriving in Hell as the servant who helped him bathe him applied ointment, and bandaged his left ear while a maid appeared with some clothes. Naruto was then dressed in a white t-shirt and shorts before Charlie entered the room. Oh, look at you all neat and tidy, now come on, I want to introduce you to Mom and Dad, Charlie said as she extended her hand towards him. Naruto raised an eyebrow, looking at his hand as if it were dangerous. What the hell is wrong with this hitch? Naruto thought as he slowly took her hand, his chest tightening as many of his beliefs were being challenged. She's royalty, but she's not hurting me. Why does she remind me of the old Hokage? While in his thoughts, Naruto was guided to a huge room that was a throne room of some sort, and sitting there were the king and queen of Hell. Lucifer Magna had pure white skin, blonde hair, thick black eyebrows, black lips, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. He wore a high-colored white suit, a black bow tie, and a red undershirt with white stripes. He also had a wide-brimmed white top hat with a purple snake and a red apple on a red band on a small table beside his throne. A black cane topped with an apple matching his hat rested on the table. His eyes are yellow, with black pupils resembling those of a snake. He, like his daughter Charlie, has red cheeks. His eyelids are purple, giving them the appearance of eyeshadow. Lilith Magna was a tall woman, towering over both her husband and daughter, with pale skin, long blonde hair, and silver eyes. Her most distinctive physical feature was a pair of horns, a trait her husband, ironically, lacked. She wore a tight-fitting black dress with black gloves that reached her forearms, connected by a sheer mesh netting with a pearl necklace around her neck. Man, he really seemed to like black and white for some reason, Naruto thought as he swallowed a lump in his throat. Charlie, I see you brought home a new pet. Lucifer smiled at the boy, but Naruto growled at being called a pet and unconsciously ignited some of his power, revealing his red aura, making Lucifer smile while Lilith chuckled. Now darling, what are you doing with this pretty little thing? Lilith asked as she looked down at her daughter from her throne. Charlie puffed out his chest with pride. I saw him on the street and something told me, I want him to have a better life, and that's why I'm adopting him as my son starting today, Charlie declared proudly, causing Naruto's eyes to widen at the sudden announcement. Hey, flashback, and that's when I learned that Charlie was the princess of Hell, literally, and that the two on the thrones were the king and queen, Naruto thought as he continued scrolling through his phone. Charlie, with his big heart, wanted to do the best for others, but for some reason he felt the need to bring me into his family as his child. Then he met Vaggie, and after they started dating, he met me and we're close. Naruto grew up at this point as the known grandson of the king and queen, but in the eyes of others, Naruto was a dirty stray who was taken in by the princess. Over time, He proved everyone wrong and became one of the most feared demons in all of hell, and someone even the king had come to respect due to his strength and talent. Apparently, even among his own kind, he's unique, with powers he couldn't explain and even a healing factor that's stronger than most. At this point, he simply chalked it up to who he was as a human and left it at that. After all these years, he'd forgotten his previous life. You can't have a pole here! It defeats the purpose of getting you out of that life. Naruto heard, making him notice Angel, who was holding a large pole that could touch the ceiling, and Charlie preventing him from installing it. Well, I don't see you two compromising with me on certain things, seriously, this place drives me crazy. Angel chided him as he continued trying to set up the stripper pole. Naruto looked over and saw the three arguing and finally having enough, as his hearing was sensitive due to being a hellhound. How about this? Angel, no drugs and no hex in return. I'll put a bar in the hotel, and you can drink in the evenings if you behave. Naruto offered, horrifying Vaggie and Charlie at the idea of setting up a bar. Charlie and Vaggie, you have to keep the bar open for him and the others in the evenings. That way, they have something to enjoy and stay on the premises. The three of them looked at him, and while Charlie looked to consider it, Vaggie looked against it, but Angel was in complete agreement. Hey, I can live with that. As long as I can drink here, I'll give up the other two. He stepped away from the girls and dropped the stripper pole. It would help keep them under control, Charlie whispered, his hand on his chin, touching it with his finger. Well, at least we can do that, but please don't abuse this privilege. Vaggie was surprised to hear Charlie allow alcohol, while Angel cheered in victory. But what, Charlie, we can't. Vaggie tried to construct an argument. Vaggie, Angel was right. Forcing him to completely go without some vices would probably make rehabilitation more difficult. Allowing this for now might be a step in the right direction. Charlie explained. Deep down he didn't really want to, but he understood that it was important. I'm not really in favor of it, but I'll support Charlie's decision, Vaggie said, defeated. Naruto watched the three agree, one reluctantly, and finally sighing before his phone rang as someone was calling him. Naruto checked the ID, his face faltered. Texas. The pop star's bodyguard. Naruto thought with a frown. Man, I really don't want to deal with her today. Sighing, Naruto answered his phone. Hi Texas. Hey Naruto, can you do me a favor, man? It depends. Who are you asking the favor from, you or your boss? It's me, man. Don't worry, she doesn't know I'm doing this yet. Listen, the boss has a big gig, and while I'm sure I can handle it on my own, the studio wants to make sure nothing gets out of hand, so they want me to hire someone else on staff who can handle this. Vortex explained in a calm tone. I checked with the management, and most of them are either busy doing their own thing or on break. So, can you give me a hand? Naruto sighed and rubbed his neck. The agency knows I don't work for cheap, right? Oh, definitely, and don't worry, the boss won't try anything. She's too busy with work to be distracted by you, trust me. Vortex reassured him. Okay, when is the concert? Tomorrow, thanks for the help, we'll be at the Greed Ring. Do you know the place? Vortex asked his friend. Yeah, I do. Let's make sure things go smoothly. Last time I worked for her, I almost got graped. Naruto grumbled, the word grape catching Vaggie's ear, increasing her interest in their conversation. Yeah, don't worry, man, the agency will make sure that doesn't happen again, Vortex said. Besides, I'll be there to help you escape if she tries. Be sure I'll see you tomorrow. Naruto hung up and looked up, seeing Vaggie's confusion. Who was that, darling? Naruto cringed internally. That sounded so bad coming from someone who didn't look any older than him. A job request. Tex is asking for help with a concert that might get a little out of hand, so he wants some extra hands to help keep his star safe. Naruto explained to Vaggie, who motioned for Charlie to come along. Wait for the concert, that is Dash. Yes, it's her. Charlie glared at him, his scara reddening with anger. No! I forbid it after what happened last time. Naruto rolled his eyes, bristling with anger. Relax. I managed to escape last time with my pants, she only had my shirt. Naruto shrugged. Even though she called me to buy your services as her permanent bodyguard, you'll never do that, and I'm tied to the hotel. Don't worry, I'm just keeping the idiots off stage and their star from getting hurt by the time the show is over and I get paid. I'll walk away without breaking a sweat. Naruto stated his position on this contract. Grr. Naruto just shook his head. Relax, it'll pass, Mom, Naruto said indifferently. Charlie relaxed at this, as Naruto knew the only way to calm her down was to call her mother. It's sometimes an awkward gesture, so he does this to help her relax. Okay, but call me if anything goes wrong, you understand? Or Vaggie understood. Yes, yes. Naruto headed upstairs. I'm going to get some sleep. Wake me up if anything comes up. And no, this isn't an invitation to my bed, Angel. Good night, honey, Charlie said as he said goodnight to Angel while she groaned. Vaggie rolled her eyes with a smile on her face. Charlie was such a loving mother, it's crazy. I have no doubt things are going to get interesting, Vaggie thought as she sat down. Knock knock. Charlie walked over to the door and opened it, revealing a tall demon with handsome antlers wearing a red striped suit, his face set in a big grin that revealed his yellow teeth. Hell, Charlie closed the door in his face, turning to the side in confusion. He opened the door again, seeing that the demon was still there. He continued before Charlie closed the door again. Hey, Vaggie. Yeah? The radio demon is here, Charlie said, pointing to the door while sporting a smile that mimicked the radio demon's smile. Naruto's room. In his bed, Naruto let out a sigh. My life, my choices. That's all that matters to me, he murmured as he closed his eyes. Thinking back to a conversation he had with Lucifer, he could only smile a little as he fell asleep. Flashback. Daughter, I have to ask you, why do you insist so much on doing things your way and not the way others want? Lucifer once asked at dinner. Lucifer and Lilith had invited Naruto, and Naruto alone, to eat with them. Naruto, 8 years old, had only known them for 2 years, and was still very respectful towards them. Simple Lord Magna, when I was alive everything was decided for me. Who I can love, who I can talk to, who hits me, how long I starve, who annoyed me, and even when I was allowed to die, Naruto said after swallowing the food in his mouth. His words made Lilith and Lucifer raise an eyebrow, either really bothered by them. But in this new world I decide how I live, no one will take that away from me again. If I want to kill someone I'll steal what I want, buy what I want, love who I want and die how I want. My choice, I'll never give that up. What about Charlie? I see you literally bending over backwards for her? Lilith asked, drinking a large glass of wine. I want to see her happy. If being her son, killing the people who threaten her, and helping her with redemption makes her happy, then so be it. As long as I can see her smile, that's all that matters to me, as it's something I'll cherish forever, Naruto said with conviction, a fire in his eyes as he looked at the king and queen. That is my answer, Lady Magna. Lucifer and Lilith smiled at her answers, each taking her hand. Welcome to the family, Naruto, Lucifer said with a smile at the surprised look on Naruto's face. Chapter 2, Bodyguard of the Stars. Damn, I hate waking up early, Naruto thought groggily as he covered his face with the blanket, not wanting the light to wake him up. Naruto wasn't a morning person, not by a long shot. Even at a young age, he hated waking up in the morning. What's more, Charlie was the first person to greet him in the morning when he was a child and was always guiding him around the castle. Now, however, it's just that they're nestled in an area with tons of violence, explosions, and foul smells that I didn't want to know where they were coming from. I guess I'll get up now, Naruto thought sadly, having to take off the blanket and begin preparing for the busy day ahead. After all, the concert will be at the Circle of Greed, which means it would take me a few hours to get to the circle and prepare with studying. Once dressed and with his hair brushed, Naruto left his room and walked down the hallway directly across from Vaggie and Charlie's room. They had the largest room on the top floor and insisted he have a room next to them. Knowing better than to argue, he agreed. She seems tired. I guess yesterday was pretty tiring and Angel being such a pain yesterday didn't help. Naruto shook his head and walked down the stairs to the hall, yawning and looking around the room and feeling alarmed. For one thing, the entire room seemed drastically different from what Charlie had planned. The place had more of a bar theme and looked like it was being decked out by some classy aesthetics. Things that looked more 1920s, if he was being honest. It's a good thing Charlie made me study history for the past few hundred years. But this can't be Charlie's job. I mean, he has more modern taste with all the butterflies and shit, Naruto thought as he moved towards the bar area, wanting to make himself a drink before Charlie woke up. Hey kid! A tired, hoarse voice murmured. Turning towards the voice, Naruto saw a black and white cat demon sitting at the bar drinking from a bottle in his hand that said cheap booze. The demon was wearing a top hat and had a bow around his neck. Scheller? Naruto asked, noticing the demon. Hey Naruto, long time no see? She said with a small smile, although she couldn't feel true happiness. She could express emotions when she could while Naruto chuckled. Yeah, it has been, not since you hired me for that little casino outing, Naruto mentioned as he recalled their first encounter, which the cat demon laughed a little as he did too. Yeah, that was an amazing night. You still have to tell me how you won all those games. I mean, you even beat the house by cheating. Husker asked before taking a deep drink of his cheap drink. I'm not sure what to say, man, but I'm curious. Naruto laughed before raising an eyebrow. How are you here, man? He smirked. Did you hear about that redemption? Husker snorted. Redemption. That's a good joke if he heard one. No, I got called here by some bucking asshole who decided to use me as a receptionist. He took another sip of his drink. Aside from that, the asshole dragged me away from my poker game just as I was about to win the whole damn pot. Naruto's brow furrowed as he thought deeply. An ability to teleport people, he thought before a single person came to mind. It can't be him, right? How much was the marijuana man? The cat growled as he remembered all the money he had made. 150,000 man! Can you believe that shit? Husker nearly screamed, slamming his bottle against the bar, nearly breaking it. Naruto shook his head. Yeah, that sucks, but did you mention someone called you here? Naruto asked, silently hoping it wasn't who he thought it was. Husker rolled his eyes as he leaned against the bar. Who else could do it? She asked coldly, causing Naruto's hopes to plummet. Yeah, that red asshole decided I was going to help out with this hotel for charity and some alcohol. He basically told me to work the front desk in the bar, but apparently, I can only serve people during the afternoon and in certain quantities. Kind of a shit if you asked me. He took another sip but looked into his bottle and saw it was empty. He threw it in the trash. Redhead definitely sounds like him, causing Naruto's ears to flatten as he grabbed his head as he could feel a headache starting to form. You mean Alastair? Husker raised an eyebrow, but then looked at him with a look of recognition. Well, you weren't here when he showed up or summoned us. But yes, it was him. Naruto groaned at this information. Charlie, did you make a deal with him? If so, it was very, very stupid. He thought before looking at Husker. Summoned us? Who else? Naruto stopped when he heard humming from the other room, then rapid movement, more humming, and then the sound of rapid movement entered the hall, revealing Nifty. Gasp a man! She yelled, happy to see a man as she sped across the room to grab Naruto, only to keep her distance when Naruto's foot slammed into her chest. Oh, mommy likes it rough. How annoying, but at least he's one of the least annoying overlords these days. Husker muttered as he saw Naruto's face twist in annoyance. This is Nifty. I think she's the maid, I can see that. Naruto replied as he kept Nifty at arm's length, avoiding her grabbing hands. Ah, Naruto, how kind of you to say about your dear friend. Naruto heard, his body tensing up enough to fully kick Nifty into the other room, causing a loud crash and chicken noises to erupt as his fur stood on end. Hearing the staticky voice on the radio, Naruto turned his head and narrowed his eyes. Alastair, Naruto said in a serious tone. Standing behind him was a man dressed in red with red eyes, horns on his head, a microphone, and a twisted golden smile. Alastair, I'm surprised you're interested in the hotel anyway, Naruto said, turning his head. Husker, do you mind if I serve the usual? Sure, kid, Husker said as he walked a few feet away to prepare Naruto's drink. Alastair laughed as Naruto ignored him. Oh come on, we're both overlords here, Alastair said in a friendly tone as he walked over and placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder, only for Naruto to take it away with a firm grip, making Alastair laugh. You mean you're an overlord? I never claimed to be one, Naruto stated clearly as he pointed out the window at an explosion in the distance. All the grass I own is under the watch of that explosive Cyclops. True. Alastair chuckled a little before looking Naruto in the eyes. But we both know that when it comes to being one, you're more than qualified compared to the rest of the so-called overlords. Like that Mun's watcher, Vox. He snarled, his smile straining with his 1920s slang as an insult. You really need to let that spiteful man go, Naruto said as Husker pushed his drink forward, scotch on the rocks, which Naruto took in his hand. I mean, you know you could kill that fool if it comes down to it, so why is it such a big deal to try? Naruto drank the whiskey. Oh, darling doggy. She tugged at Naruto's cheek, making him growl, before letting go and walking away from him. Naruto picked up his drink and gestured for Husk to get another. Why would I do that? The cat demon just made another one, knowing how tense Naruto is with this red monster here and wanting to do what he can to stop them from fighting. I'm pretty sure those two would take down most of Hell, or at least Pentagram City, in their battle. Yes, I hate him. Vox is nothing but a nuisance to me. I could massacre that stupid fool, but he's more of a numbers person, and while I'm sure I can beat them all, I know he has more than enough resources that it would prove costly and troublesome. Alastor laughed, his eyes dilating and turning into clock faces at the thought of massacring Vox. Especially since he gets me in trouble for doing it too often. Naruto shook his head as he took his second round. Lucifer doesn't like it when overlords, those of great power, cause trouble in Hell, as this only means more work for him and, more importantly, weakening his general population due to their bloodshed. Naruto thought as he put down the cup, tapping it 3 times, saying he wanted more. So tell me, dear doggy, what do you think of what I did here? Alastor asked as he returned to normal, his arms out to show his touch. Naruto looks around the hallway and sighs. Well, you saved me from having to spend money to put a bar in this place, but please refrain from giving Angel anything other than this bar. His eyes reddening for a second, Alastor smiled, his eyes turning into radio dials, his aura screaming to life. We're trying to make this legit, and the last thing I need is for you to tear this place down just because you're bored. My dear boy, if I wanted to tear this place down, you wouldn't? Or did you forget the last time you crossed paths with Lucifer and his family? Naruto said indifferently, knowing Alastor couldn't do anything to him out of disrespect. For the first time in a long time, Alastor lost his smile, before it became more tense. No, I remember, he said in an angry tone, angrier than when he was talking about Vox. Naruto nodded and took a sip of his drink, not swallowing it this time because he didn't need to be completely intoxicated to work. Good. Naruto took another sip. Now please keep your bad habits to yourself. Oh? The dear demon laughed. What about you? The Hellhound who's made enemies of almost everyone in Hell who isn't allied with the king or doesn't want to pounce on your bones. Yeah, well, I'm not exactly indulging my sins like a piece of venison. Naruto cut in. This made Alastor bristle. Wanna bet, doggy? Soon, both auras came back to life with Naruto ready to swing with his claws and Alastor summoning his shadows to his side and creating a terrifying situation for most. Husker simply hid under the bar ready for a fight to break out, while also drinking another bottle of cheap liquor. What the hell is going on? Looking at the two, we see Vaggie in a nightgown and Charlie in a nearly transparent black nightgown. Vaggie was looking at both men. There are no bucking fights in the hotel. Alastor stopped and waved to the girls, his smile no longer sinister. Good morning, darlings! Don't worry about this, we just had a what's it called these days. He tapped his chin before snapping his fingers. I think it's called a hick measuring contest. Naruto snorted before turning to Husker and slamming the table. Husk, it's over, get back up. The cat demon appeared again and began drinking with a bored expression. Well, that was anticlimactic, he said angrily as he sat down. I wanted to see some blood. Naruto smiled and took out his phone, typed a few things into it, and then pointed it directly at Husker. Husk, give me your phone. Why? He asked. Just do it, man, Naruto urged. The cat demon shrugged and did so, a dinging sound erupting as their phones touched. Looking down, he saw a $200,000 transfer that made his eyes bulge. Consider this an apology for Alastor screwing you over at his gambling game, and also funds for whatever you need while running the bar here, Naruto said as he put away his phone. Naruto turned his stool around and finished his drink, handing the glass back to Husker. For the first time, at least for Vaggie and Charlie, the cat demon smiled willingly. Thanks, kid. You were always one of the good guys in Hell. Naruto nodded and stretched his arms above his head, leaning back to touch the ground with the top of his head. Alright, time to get ready for work. It's going to take a while to get to the Ring of Greed, Naruto said as he got back to his feet, his statement causing Charlie to groan as Vaggie tried to calm her down. Naruto, she said, turning to Vaggie, who had a worried look on her face. Make sure you stay safe while you're out. You know what people would do if they found you at the concert. Naruto rolled his eyes. This again, really? Naruto thought before looking back at Vaggie. Yeah, I know, but don't worry, I took care of this and my job is probably just to keep imps and other demons from rushing the stage and all. Also, I'll be wearing a hat and glasses so she doesn't recognize me right away. Going up the stairs, he saw Charlie cooking. Looks like I need to bring out my ultimate weapon, Naruto thought as he approached Charlie. I'll be fine, don't worry, and I'll call you if I need anything, Mom. He then leaned toward her and kissed her cheek, making Charlie tense up with a huge smile. He knows how to manipulate her very well. Vaggie thought as she shook her head, while the others raised an eyebrow at this level of affection from the Hellhound as he walked up the stairs. Oh, isn't Vaggie the sweetest boy? Charlie gushed, pushing her hair over her face to hide her blush as she smiled. She really was an overly doting mother. Yeah, I'm sure it is, Vaggie said as she tried to bring down her lover's happy-go-lucky side. Naruto walked upstairs and returned to his room, where he took off his shirt and shorts and put on a more elegant outfit to his liking, a suit made for fighting. It's exactly what it sounds like. The outfit looked like a suit, black with a red tie and whatnot to make it look professional, but there are hidden elements to the clothing. They were made of breathable fabrics that allowed him to move as easily as he would in his other clothes, and he could fight in them as well. They were easy to repair if they broke, and they didn't leave him stiff. Perfect blend of professional appearance and ability to fight on short notice if necessary. Naruto then pulled out a fiery red and orange beanie and put it on his head to help hide his damaged ear and obscure his face a bit. He then put on his glasses and sighed. Man, it's a pain, but hey, I'm getting paid, so this is it, okay? He said as he looked in the door-sized mirror, checking himself to make sure he had everything on correctly. Damn tie. Naruto stepped down, undoing his tie. Charlie, now coming down from his Cloud 9, saw this and approached him. Here, I have it, Charlie said as he took the tie and tied it properly. Thanks, Mom, Naruto said as he hugged her, her feet no longer touching the ground before he set her down. When she straightened up, she saw that Angel had come down the stairs and was talking to Alastor and flirting with Husker. Naruto could only shake his head. Husker doesn't feel love for anyone or anything except alcohol, so he'll be lucky to get her attention for even more than 5 minutes. Naruto thought as he prepared to leave. I'm out. The room turned and Charlie immediately took some pictures of him in his outfit, and he just said, Really? Of course. I always love to see my son looking his best, even if it's because of that hitch, Charlie said, growling the last bit with a partial transformation. Naruto rolled his eyes behind his glasses and waved. Everyone, behave yourselves, and that goes double for you, Angel. Hey, what the buck? Angel yelled at the lack of trust between them. Naruto chuckled and after walking out the front door he saw the white limousine ready for him. Waiting in the back he sighed. Xavier, would you mind driving me to the workplace? Yes, Lord Magna. Xavier, said a honey badger demon as he started the car. Naruto said expressionlessly. Xavier, we've been over this several times. I'm not Lord Magna, just Naruto, make it cross your mind, Naruto said with slight irritation. The driver chuckled. Of course, Lord Naruto, Xavier replied as he pulled out of the parking lot and began the long walk to the Ring of Greed. Naruto simply rolled his eyes and stared out the window. He really hated royalty. All the kisses and whatnot had gotten him old. Well, at least I get to see the madness of hell on my way to work, Naruto thought as he put on some headphones and started listening to some human world music. Hotel. Not even 10 minutes after Naruto left, Charlie started pacing back and forth muttering to herself. Alastor thought it was very funny, so he watched with delight. Nifty cleaned up behind the girl every few minutes as she hurried through the hotel. Husker just rolled his eyes and kept drinking. Angel was surprised to see the normally bubbly and affectionate owner so frantic and angry. Turning to Vaggie, who was reading a magazine at the time, he punched her in the side, causing her to grunt. What? She snapped, her bow looking like horns. What about the boss? Angel replied as he raised his hands. Looking at Charlie, Vaggie sighed exhaustedly as she closed her magazine. This is common when Naruto goes to work, but this one especially has her nervous, Vaggie said. She's just worried, especially about the person who hired Naruto. Hearing her mutter to Vaggie and the others, he broke out in a sweat at the sound of, choke the hitch, my baby. I shouldn't have let him take the job, just get someone else to do it. Did something happen with the girl you're going to see? Angel asked since he hadn't even heard of this woman who had Charlie's panties in a twist. Vaggie grunted in annoyance as she pinched the bridge of her nose. Weren't you paying attention at all yesterday? She asked angrily. No, I was looking for something to eat after you guys got into the bar, Angel replied with a casual shrug. Vaggie rolled her eyes and let out a disgusted sigh. Look, it goes back about 3 years. Vaggie began to explain, to which Alastor and the others listened as Charlie paced still and seemed to be making his way onto the mat. Naruto took a job for this client before being his bodyguard. This was after Naruto became famous and all that jazz. He was considered a target for anyone to even score him for some work. He ran a hand over his eye and through his hair. The client was on the rise in terms of the pop music scene and was considered one of the most popular artists at the time. Huh! Wait, you're saying it's Dash? Vaggie covered her mouth, making him annoyed. She pointed an annoyed look at Charlie, who turned around and sweat dropped at the sight of Charlie almost turning demonic. No. You. Speak. His name. Vaggie warned in a tone that promised death. Angel nodded, watching Charlie take a deep breath and walk out of the main hall and up the stairs with a couple of heavy footsteps. Naruto did the job as her guard, but while making her payment, she got a little frisky with him due to his fame. Apparently his hex appeal as a rising hellhound and, her being a succubus, she could see his sexual potential, and finally the fact that she's a virgin. Vaggie explained. Hold! Angel raised his hands. Is the dog boy a virgin? At his age? Now, this colored the room in surprise that being a virgin was almost a sin in hell. Even more so since Naruto was 24 years old, and was already the central figure of many reforms in hell and royalty no less. Basically, I should not be a virgin with all that at stake. Yeah, Naruto hasn't had any interest in hex and even then, he doesn't like to talk about it to any degree. But this made the succubus desire him more, so she tried her luck with him, and all that led to was Naruto leaving the area without his shirt and running all the way back to the Pride Ring from the Lust Ring. Vaggie stated, recalling the state she was in when she got home that day. So many cuts we had to disinfect. Damn! Angel laughed out loud as he collapsed into an armchair. Most people would kill for that kind of attention, so it's kind of funny. Vaggie shook her head. Not because of the aftermath, it wasn't. Vaggie replied, shuddering a little at what happened next. Charlie was called in to sell Naruto's services to her, and Charlie had found out about what she'd attempted and, without restraint, gave a very graphic idea of what she would do to him if he ever laid a hand on Naruto again. Since then, they both tried to avoid talking about her or even mentioning her concerts. The hotel staff nodded and realized there was a reason for the tension, but most didn't care, while Angel now had something new to talk to Cherry about when she came to see him. The Virgin Hound is now a riot, Angel thought as she pulled out her phone and started a tweet. Ring of Greed. Note to self, punch Angel when I get home. I have no idea why I should. Naruto thought as he got out of the limo. Naruto looked at the Ring of Greed and all it had to offer. More importantly, the arena he attended for work. From what he saw, it was bigger than most castles in hell and was designed solely to attract as many people as possible and get them to spend all their money on a stupid show on a massive stage that made it look grandiose in design. Yes, Naruto wasn't a fan of those places, but he wasn't paid to care or give his thoughts. Xavier, come and pick me up the moment I call, you got it. Enjoy your time in the ring and let Charlie know I arrived safely, okay? Naruto asked as he patted Xavier's shoulder. Of course, Lord Naruto. Xavier replied, smirking. Naruto grunted before speeding off. One day that son of a hitch will call me Naruto, since Lucifer is my witness. Naruto growled, showing his fangs a little before calming down. Upon entering the stadium, he saw imps and other lesser demons working on everything in sight to prepare for the concert. Wow, someone just got stabbed. Naruto thought as he watched a fish-like demon get gutted and plundered by a cat demon. Imps were the lowest-ranking demons in hell. Hellhounds were ranked just as high. But thanks to Naruto's changing popularity, they were ranked higher than imps and given the same importance as other lower-class demons. They were considered useless, but Naruto knew there was a use for everyone, you just had to look. Oh, how nice to have you here, said a female voice, which was directed at Naruto. Naruto turned to see a slightly taller imp wearing glasses and a black outfit, followed by two smaller imps carrying bulletin boards and coffee. Yeah, I thought I'd arrive earlier than usual so I could get a feel for the place, Naruto replied, settling into his businesslike frame of mind. The woman smiled. That's good, at least someone knows how to be a bucking professional. Shouting this to all the workers who ran faster or just grunted. The woman sighed and motioned for Naruto to follow her, so he did and was led to an office on the top floor overlooking the concert. The two imps beside him dropped their things on his desk and motioned for Naruto to take a seat in one of the chairs in front of his desk. So? Naruto asked with a sigh. Can I learn your name? It's Diane. Diane said as she extended her hand. As Naruto reached out to shake it, one of the two imps ran towards him. Can we get you something, sir? They asked excitedly that would be used by a simpleton. Naruto raised an eyebrow and saw the devil's sigh. No, I'm fine, but thanks for asking. Reaching into his pockets, he pulled out $200 and handed it to the two imps. Why don't you go get something to eat while your boss and I talk? The two imps looked at the generous amount of money and then at Diane. Go on, you little bastards. I'll call you two when I need you, Diane said aggressively, sending the two imps scurrying out the door, and Naruto laughed. It's nice to see more imps running around and working these days, Naruto said with a hint of pride. Diane snorted at his statement. Yes, but to the point. Naruto looked at Diane. As I'm sure you know, Tex called you because of my request. Naruto thought before answering. Yeah, he mentioned needing help, which confuses me. Tex can usually handle the rabble and the idiots who rush the stage or try to get too close to your star, Diane said professionally. Asking for my help means something's going on that's unknown outside of a few people in the public eye, Naruto said as he interlaced his fingers. Any reason for this? Diane smiled before gasping. She stood up from her chair, took a sip of her coffee, and sighed. You're insightful, and that's exactly why I want to hire you today. She turned to him. Do you remember a male pop star named J.K. Pronounced Jackash. Naruto looked at her curiously. Diane then pulled out an old poster. In it was a red-skinned humanoid demon with thin, muscular arms and torso, due to his shirtlessness, revealing several $sign tattoos on him. He wore 1970s-style flared pants that were acid green, black, and turquoise blue. He wore a triangular headband around his short, feathered blonde hair with short horns on the sides of his head, a star painted on his right eye with black circular lenses. Standing tall, he wore cowboy boots, white in color with black studs on them forming $signs. In his arms he held a diamond-covered guitar, creating a shimmering effect as he held a joint in his mouth. Beneath his feet was a mountain of men and women, J.K. the Incubus pop star, performing at the Ring of Gluttony for their Lust and Love tour. Buy your tickets now or miss the reveal of J.K.'s new apprentice Verasika Mayday. Looks like he's trying to be David Bowie, Jimi Hendrix, John Lennon, Paul Stanley, and Elvis. Naruto thought blankly at the poster's fusion. He'd seen some weird stuff in Hell, so that's a possibility. And he learned about Charlie's human musicians. Jack Cash, stage name J.K. I remember him. Well, my family told me about him. Naruto nodded as he put down the poster. He was a big deal in the 90s, wasn't he? Diane frowned as she hit the sign, nearly breaking the table it was on. Yeah, and he used to be one of our big moneymakers back in the day, as well as being Verasika's vocal coach and later hiring her as a backup singer. But she was so good they were a duo for a while, Diane informed Naruto as she reached up to rub her eyes and took another drink. Surely you heard what he did 2 years ago. You mean he killed several people in his agency and murdered that up-and-coming star because she was becoming more popular than him? Naruto said nonchalantly, moving his shoulders and arms in the wave motion. Of course, I heard about it. Besides, didn't he get really mad when people called him Jackass, not J.K. Exactly. Diane snarled, smashing her drink against the table, destroying it. After that bucking incident, I made it clear that our label would no longer back his stupid shit, but he didn't care. He thought he could succeed without a studio behind him. She smiled darkly. He quickly discovered that wasn't going to be the case, especially since he didn't have the means and resources to succeed in this capacity. It's true. Naruto knew from his personal history, unless one had a personal sponsor, they likely wouldn't last long in Hell, which was why new pop stars appeared all the time. But good ones were rare and stayed at the top for well over a decade. So, what does this have to do with your star and my recruitment? Naruto asked, feeling like he knew where this conversation could go. Verasika, our star, is having this massive concert, and if it's a massive success like we think it will be, it'll ultimately bury that fool to the point he'll never recover. Diane exclaimed, really wanting this to work. But unfortunately, his biggest problem is that we know J.K. is coming to commit an assassination today. We have to stop him from succeeding and, if necessary, kill the damn fool once and for all. She turned her head to him. That's the real reason we're hiring you. J.K. has some power and a few followers still, so if you could get rid of him and his followers, that would be a huge help to us. Okay. Naruto sighed. This job is a pain right now. So the goal is to kill J.K. if he shows up, and if he has followers, to kill them too, and not disrupt the program at all costs. Exactly. Diane said as she turned to him after burning a poster of one of her former stars, the remains on the table charred. Can I count on you? You know my rates for jobs like this aren't cheap, especially since this puts the hotel in the spotlight if something goes wrong, right? Naruto asked, raising an eyebrow. Diane smiled, pushed her glasses up her nose, and leaned back as she looked at him metaphorically with a confident smile. I know that's why I'm promising you this. I'll pay the required amount and make sure that anything that might come back to you from JK or his followers is buried and done with, Diane said confidently. But if it proves to be more than you thought and you want more compensation, Diane took off her glasses and pushed them seductively against her lips. I'm willing to offer my services, he declared seductively. Naruto swallowed a lump in his throat, and before he could sweat, he snapped his neck. That won't be necessary, he replied, stretching his limbs. I think it's time to earn my paycheck for the day. Hopefully, I can avoid unnecessary trouble. As for Hex, no, I'm fine. Diane pouted before returning to her professional persona as she put her glasses back on. Let's wait, but if you manage to keep JK$'s head intact, please bring it to me. I have a perfect place to put it, and I feel superior to that damn loser. Diane asked as she sat down. Naruto rolled his eyes and walked out of the office and sighed. Man, my job is going to be tough, I can feel it. He groaned as he walked down the hallway and smelled a familiar scent. He quickly turned on his heel and headed the other way. I won't deal with Verasika if I can avoid it, he thought paranoidly. Time jump. I want your ugly, I want your sickness, I want your everything as long as it's free. I want your love, 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 I want your love. The concert was in full swing. Verasika had the masses in her hands, people were cheering her on, wanting her, and some were trying to rush the stage for her, as she sang Bad Romance by Lad Muffle Sound, Record Scratch, Stab Bad Romance, an original song that Verasika wrote herself. The succubus dressed up for the event, wearing her normal white outfit of zeros and stars, her hot pink skin on display with her hourglass figure, and her horns were glittered for the event. One was shorter than the other, but she thought it was more of a fashion statement than anything else. On top of that, she had pink eyes with yellow sclera, pink hair, and a heart-shaped tail. Overall, I could understand her Hex appeal. Tex prevented people from getting on stage by knocking them out or throwing them back into the crowd if necessary. Verasika's fans were busy having fun with the idiots in the crowd they were able to reach, and within minutes it all turned into an orgy. Naruto's nose was overwhelmed with lust and the pure scent of Hex surrounding him. It was overwhelming, and honestly, it was very annoying. He wore an earpiece to communicate with other officers in case JK$ showed up. So far the concert has been going well, and nothing seems out of place, Naruto thought as he looked out at the crowd from his position. Maybe that JK isn't coming. I guess it would help save face. Naruto, can you hear me? Someone came in through the back. An officer yelled into the earpiece, nearly bursting Naruto's eardrum. Just my damn luck, Naruto tapped the earpiece in his hidden ears. Understood, do we know where they went? They're heading to the stage. You have to stop JK$. The jerk is really here, I understand. Naruto sniffed around and found an unusual scent in the area and within seconds saw the overrated, broke pop star charging through the back curtains with a maniacal look on his face. The man looked like most incubus she'd ever seen, red skin, black horns, and revealing clothing. However, unlike other incubi, Jack Cash let himself go, causing his pants and shirt to stretch tightly across his body. He no longer had the lean, muscular appearance he had during his career. He had gained a massive pork belly, and his limbs resembled oversized sausages with stubby fingers on his hands. His blonde hair was a long, tangled mess that had clearly been cut by Jack himself due to how crude it was. His face resembled a balloon filled with wet sand, about to burst with rage from the look in his eyes. That was what bothered Naruto. Jack's eyes were almost completely red, since most people have gold or yellow eyes. Dude's probably high on drugs right now, Naruto thought as he looked at Jack's arm, which had a rubber strip wrapped around it with infected injection holes on his elbow. Naruto stood in front of the stage entrance, preventing Jack from moving forward. Sorry buddy, you're not going to make it to Verasika, the man grunted, literally foaming at the mouth. Out of my way you damn mutt! He has to die for me to be resurrected! Jack yelled as he pointed at Naruto. Naruto rolled his eyes at this threat. Damn drama queen, Naruto thought as he prepared to fight. Dude, your popularity plummeted because you suck. No one's interested in someone who can't come up with new material on their own. Even if you do succeed, no one would listen to you now because you're an idiot. Buck you! The incubus yelled, charging at Naruto, moving faster than Naruto expected from an incubi of his size. "I'm Big Bone!" Jack tackled Naruto and brought him to the stage, drawing the attention of the crowd and Verasaka, who was surprised to see both men there. Jack let out a guttural roar as he punched Naruto, knocking off his hat and knocking it off as his glasses were shattered by the tackle. "It's him!" Verasaka smiled and licked her lips, causing the fans to scream with even greater lust and excitement. Naruto, on the other hand, was pushing the incubus away from him after the entrance, and putting some distance between them. The incubi, surprisingly, was agile enough to jump out of the ground and pulled out a knife that appeared to be covered in a purple liquid. "Poison, huh? How weak." Naruto thought, annoyed. "Move it, dog! I won't be denied my fame! I'll rise again and be on top like I was always meant to be," Jack declared. "Yeah, definitely annoying." Naruto sighed. "You're a dime a dozen. Female stars last longer than male ones, and that's only because most of them have greater hex appeal to both the opposite and same hex." Verasaka blushed, but seeing her former teacher bothers her that she is brandishing a knife at her future dog and worse, causing trouble at her concert. "That hitch, she took everything," Jack screamed, his voice breaking as he cried. "All she had to do was serve me and I would have given her everything, but she had to get bigger, she had to become more popular, and then take my place as the top star in all of Hell. I am the true king of Hell." Naruto frowned. "Wow, the drugs must be good if he's that high," Naruto thought before shaking his head. "Well, unfortunately for you, I'm not going to let you near her." He smiled as he saw that his insults were getting under the former pop star's skin. "Come on, jackass!" Naruto mocked. Jack saw red. "Jackass is promoted!" Jack yelled as he charged at him and plunged the knife into his chest. Verasaka is shocked and furious, but hears Naruto burst out laughing. "Jay, just wow, man, you're really dumb, no wonder you lost fans so fast." Naruto coughed as the broken poison-coated blade hit the ground, his skin unpierced. Naruto swiped his claws, decapitating the pop star, letting his body fall to the ground, spilling blood all over the stage. "The idiots should know by now that I'm immune to poisons, if that much, but I'm strong enough to stop a knife." Naruto coughed as he raised his head and body. The large crowd cheered as he quickly carried them off the stage. He dropped his body and pulled his shirt down enough to lift his fur and see some swelling in his chest. "Though the force of your attack still hurts. I'm going to hurt you a little," Naruto grumbled. "Hello, darling." A sensual voice. Naruto's entire body froze, hair standing on end as he turned his head to see Verasaka standing there with a smile on her face. "How nice of you to protect my little one. Do you want me to reward you later?" she said flirtatiously, winking at him. Naruto paled. Memories of their past encounter came to mind, and some memories of his own time as a child's toy in his human life. He disappeared in an instant, leaving Verasaka pouting. "He got away." She shrugged and returned to the stage to sing. "Oh well, I'll catch him sooner or later, it's just a matter of time, fufufu." Naruto felt a tickle on his back. "I should ask Charlie if I can install more locks on my room, windows, no, the entire hotel," Naruto thought as he returned to his post while Verasaka began singing Poker Face, another song written by Lad Stab, disc scratch, gasps, stab written by Verasaka. End of the concert. "Thank you so much for this beautiful gift," Diane said happily as she looked at her former client's head, the look of anguish so delicious to her. "Yeah, the concert went off without a hitch and I don't think many people in the crowd will notice me killing JK $. Naruto replied as he looked around with mild paranoia. "Oh, who gives a shit? The concert was still a success, and even if someone noticed, they wouldn't care since the cameras were focused on Verasaka as usual," Diane said as she leaned her head against the wall and admired her as she turned the corpse's body into a table. "He probably held a grudge against someone who killed one of his stars and tried to murder a former student and his main source of income, and he wanted to enjoy this. So, my money?" Naruto said with slight desperation to get out of the building. Verasaka could be lurking anywhere. Diane took out her phone and typed it in before Naruto's phone rang. He took his money. "Thanks again, and I hope we can do more business in the near future," Diane said happily as she gave Naruto her card. "I have yours." Naruto greeted the woman and walked out the door and sighed. "Hopefully, I don't have to do anything like this for Verasaka again," he thought before looking up and smiling, his anxiety easing. "Yo dog," Vortex said upon seeing Naruto, smiling at his friend. The Haytex concert was a success. The gray and black furred Hellhound laughed at this joke. He was slightly taller than Naruto and more muscular, with more scars on his ears and eye, but that came with the territory for his kind. Especially as a celebrity's bodyguard/bouncer. Right, friend, some hellhounds are planning to come to Giovanni's at the Pride Ring soon. Do you want to join us? Vortex asked because he wanted to party with his best friend. Naruto waved his hand as if he wanted to push her away. Not today, man, but when you do, let me know. Naruto politely declined. Besides, after getting hit with that knife, I want this swelling to go down, and dealing with your boss is making me nervous. Sure thing. Vortex said as the clapped claws hugged each other with one arm. Tell your girl thanks for the jacket, I wear it when I can. Naruto said as he appreciated the jacket the Vortex girl had made for him. I'll do it, man. See you. Vortex laughed before they said goodnight. Naruto walked away from one of his best friends and texted Xavier, Bring the car, I'm ready to go home. Yes, Lord Naruto. Stop that, damn it, annoying driver, ahem. Naruto turned around after hearing the voice and saw that it was Verasika, who had a smile on her face and is now wearing her pink fur coat that she is used to. Naruto, I wanted to tell you something before it became public news. Something I think you'll find exciting. Verasika said without any hint of lust or attempt at seduction. Naruto took a step back and looked at her, ready to run. Look, if this is your next session and you're going to get naked, then I'll pass. You know I'm not interested in that kind of thing. Naruto told the pop star plainly. No. Verasika said quickly, waving her hands and laughing a little, keeping that in mind for the future. I'm taking your advice from our conversation all those years ago to heart and going to rehab for real. Oh? Naruto said with an arched eyebrow. Verasika hates rehab, so the fact that she's willing to take my advice is suspicious. So I just wanted you to know that it's a special clinic and I'd like you to come see me while I'm there, okay? Verasika said with her hands behind her, her tail making the shape of a heart. Naruto shrugged, not caring and wanting to leave. I'll try to make time, but I'm not promising anything, he said, with no intention of keeping this promise. Verasika nodded and without missing the opportunity, she kissed him on the cheek, making him blush under his fur with his eyes wide open. Until next time. She walked away with a swipe of her tail while Naruto could only shake his head, looking for a place to clean her scent. Finding no other option, Naruto reserved it for the bathroom and feverishly rubbed his face to get rid of her scent. Okay, I think that's all, Naruto said as he tried to calm down. She's more dangerous than any demon in hell I've ever seen. Even Valentino and Elaster pale in comparison. Coming out of the bathroom, Naruto came out seeing Xavier there waiting for him, and after getting into the back of the car he said, To the Xavier Hotel. Of course, sir, how was work? Annoyed, I'm going to get some sleep. Wake me up when we get there, Naruto said as he put his headphones back on. Yes, Lord Naruto. You'll call me Naruto someday, bastard, Naruto stated lightly, not sounding threatening, as he leaned his seat back as he closed his eyes, drifting off to sleep and trying to dream of better times. But the nightmares were still there, and all he saw in the end were red eyes and a dark red figure in the distance. In another part of hell, in a dark and elegant room, a girl was sitting on her bed and watching Verasika's live concert. Although it's not normally his music scene, he heard someone interesting was there from some of the updates and tweets. Upon hearing this, he tuned into the event, on his dad's card, of course, and saw a hellhound fighting a pop star. But what caught his eye were his blue eyes and damaged ear. It's really you. I finally found you. A blush formed on her face, and her pink eyes began to glow in the darkness. This time I won't let you go. You've set my soul alight, and I refuse to let anyone else get to you first. In a shabby office, a gray, white, and black-furred female hellhound smiled as she watched the concert on the computer. It's good to see you doing so well, Naruto. I hope to see you again after all these years. Hotel 2 days later. Naruto sighed tiredly as he sat down, having finished installing additional locks on all the doors and windows of the hotel. I'll get back to my routine, Naruto thought as he recalled his attempts to calm his mother and Vaggie down from what happened at the concert 2 days earlier. He had to explain what happened and the fact that they noticed him. But it wasn't a big deal. It just showed that he was there and killing a former star and therefore increased the overall appeal of the concert. The residents laughed, except for Charlie and Vaggie, and Naruto then had to ask Charlie for permission to install all the locks. Since it was a big hotel, it had taken 2 days. Listening carefully, Naruto could hear Elaster in his room, doing what he was doing. Nifty was shuffling around somewhere in the attic, cleaning, obviously. Husker was currently at the bar, restocking the shelves. Angel, who had a mild relapse in rehab, was under the watchful eye of Charlie and Vaggie. He was currently receiving the newspaper as evidence. The sounds of the hotel staff were lulling Naruto, making him smile at the normality of his day. Ring! The doorbell rang in every room, not just the rooms, but the rooms where all the staff members were likely to be. Naruto groaned. I'm the closest to the door, he thought as he forced himself to stand up. I guess I'll answer it. Walking towards the door, Naruto sighed and put a small smile on his muzzle and opened the door. Welcome to Hazbin hot dash. Her smile disappeared as her blood ran cold. Standing in front of him was Verasika with a smile on her face, and her suitcases behind her. Hi, baby, she announced as she wrapped her arms around his neck and kissed his cheek. This action brought him out of his shock and he whispered, What the hell are you doing here? Oh, didn't anyone tell you? She smiled, stepping back a little. I heard this hotel is supposed to help us on the path to redemption and help people let go of certain vices to redeem themselves or something. She waved her hand. I decided I needed to overcome my drinking habit, and the best way to do that was here. Naruto started sweating when he heard footsteps behind him and just thought, shit's about to get real, he thought as he turned his head and saw Charlie smiling. Welcome to the Hazbin Hotel. Verasika raised an eyebrow and looked behind Naruto. Charlie saw who it was and saw red. What the hell are you doing here? Naruto is not for sale, Charlie said as he ran between them and held out his arms to keep Verasika away from Naruto. Well, I'm not here to buy Naruto's services. She smiled, trying to sound convincing. I'm here because your hotel helps sinners overcome their inner demons and all that. She waved her hand, and some imps dragged their bags away with a struggle, and Naruto just watched. So, my manager and everyone agreed to let me enroll here in exchange for me stopping drinking. Charlie was smoking and the heat coming off her was terrifying to the imps. But Naruto knew she was angry because she was trapped in a hard, tough place. Charlie couldn't turn Verasika away as his policy is to help anyone who needs help. He had to help her stop drinking and therefore he should be allowed to help. Welcome to the hotel, Charlie forced himself to say, moving very slowly like a rusty robot. Vaggie, in the background, looked at Charlie and saw that he was almost gritting his teeth. So, where's the paperwork I need to fill out, and where's my room? Preferably next to security here would be fine, Verasika said with a wink at Naruto. He just sighed in defeat. Things are going to be interesting from now on, he groaned. Oh, we have a room for you and we can take care of the paperwork now. Charlie grabbed the pop star and dragged her away while Verasika just winked and blew kisses to Naruto, who simply ignored her and turned to Vaggie. Make sure Mom doesn't kill her, okay? He asked. Yes. Vaggie ran after Charlie, leaving Naruto to go to Husker. Drink, Naruto said as he leaned his elbows on the counter. The cat demon nodded and instead of a glass gave him the bottle of whiskey and Naruto began to drink from the bottle. Good thing I updated the locks, Naruto thought as he gulped down the whiskey, setting it down on the table with a loud groan. Angel walked into the room and threw a magazine on the bar with a smile, the newspaper tucked under one of his forearms with sunglasses on his eyes. Check it out, Naruto, he said before winking at Husker. Hey, Husker honey. The cat ignored him and just took a deep drink of his beer. Naruto looked at the deck and dropped his whiskey, which broke and spilled on the floor, to which Nifty dived towards him and cleaned it up. Husk, I'm going to need another bottle, Naruto said while trembling slightly. He was on the cover, but in this photo, there was the caption, Is the world's hexiest demon dating the hexiest succubus? What's their secret relationship? Is the virgin hound scared? Angel asked mockingly. Naruto's fist slammed into the spider's eye, breaking its sunglasses. Chapter 3. Day in the Life of a Hellhound. Naruto snored loudly, a bubble of snot swelling and shrinking with each breath he took as he slept. His phone turned on and his ringtone went off. Devour world smites forsaken. Arise from your 1000th year of sleep. Naruto's ears twitched as his ringtone, the lyrics and music of Band Metal Forever, Awakened by RHBS continued. Come out of your grave eternally. I send you too. Naruto's eyes closed before remaining closed, his consciousness beginning to awaken. Increase, 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 increase. Oh, buck me! Naruto grumbled angrily as he grabbed his phone before swiping the bar, ending the song, and answering. Who is it and what do you want? Is that my way anyway to talk to your dear grandmother? Naruto froze, as he shot up. No bucking way. And today of all days, Grandma Lilith! Naruto replied in a nervous and fearful tone. Hi, honey, how are you today? Lilith said casually on the other end of the phone. Having a miserable time as usual taking care of your mother? I wouldn't say despicable, but he's been a challenge at times. Naruto replied, rubbing the back of his neck. He seemed to have made a lot of enemies recently. Oh, I'm aware, and your grandfather has a request for you when we come to visit. Lilith said in a happy tone, smiling so wide she could make human children cry. Naruto blinked as a feeling of dread washed over him. What do you mean, visit? He asked, praying it was a joke. Well, Charlie's called me a few times and told me how difficult things were when they first started, and that it's been harder than she expected. Lilith replied, laughing at Naruto's tone of voice. So, let's go down and see her and try to cheer her up. But aren't you busy? Naruto pointed out, trying to avoid this visit. Normally yes, but the paperwork can wait since I think it's time we saw this hotel she fixed up and how things are going with these two famous clients you have living there now. I even heard you're dating a succubus no less. Lilith giggled, trying to hide her mirth when Naruto spluttered. Your grandfather is very proud of you and wants to know when the wedding is. Naruto rubbed his eyes. Of course they would focus on that. No, we're not dating, Naruto said as he leaned back, pinching his nose. Verasika is just someone who's super obsessed with me to the point where people think we're dating. Honestly, I don't find that kind of attraction to her at all. Oh shit, I thought you'd be bringing home a future granddaughter-in-law soon. Oh well, but who knows what's going to happen in the near future with her there all that time for treatment. By the way, how's all that going? Lilith asked curiously. Fine, Naruto replied as he pulled out his phone to make sure no one was in the hallway listening to his footsteps. Things are fine. We've had a few setbacks, but nothing we wouldn't have expected with the people of Hell. We had to make a few exceptions to the rules for them, but I think it's the right thing to do instead of forcing everything down their throats at once. How kind of you, that's why I knew letting you go with her to this hotel was a good idea, Lilith declared proudly. You're helping while at the same time leveling the playing field instead of playing with unrealistic expectations. But back to what you said before, is Lucifer really coming? Naruto asked with a groan. Yeah. Now I know he and Charlie ended on bad terms, but I don't think it'll hurt to at least see some of the progress he's making and hopefully see that he's bringing hope to some of the demons in this place. Lilith said with a sigh. I can see a fight between them as soon as he walks through the door and opens his mouth. Naruto joked, making Lilith laugh a little more. I can see that too, but they both need to grow up and try to be adults at this point. For God's sake, they're the king and the princess, they should be able to talk about stupid things like this, you know? Lilith said, rolling her eyes. True. Naruto smiled at his grandmother's casual conversation. Well, I know she and Vaggie will at least be happy with the visit, so I'll see you soon. Indeed. Please don't tell Charlie, knowing she'll freak out and do something stupid and make her situation worse. Lilith asked, knowing Charlie would act irrationally if she knew. Yes, I won't. He looks so much like his dad it's crazy. I swear, anyways baby, we'll see you soon and please find me a girlfriend. I'd love to see you dating sometime next year. Bye. Lilith ended the conversation and Naruto could only feel her eye twitch as she put her phone down next to her. He closed his eyes in an attempt to go back to sleep, but he never came. Grunting, Naruto gets out of bed and falls to the floor. He sighed. Another day in hell, literally. Naruto muttered as he got up from the ground. After dressing in a pair of shorts and a shirt, Naruto opened the door and saw that the locks had been tampered with, annoying him. Verasika again? Man, that's the 5th time in less than a week. Naruto thought as he readjusted them. Ever since she checked into the hotel for treatment for her drinking, I've felt the need to avoid her at all costs. And I live here. On top of that, I have to keep Charlie from strangling Verasika. Naruto's thoughts wandered to the hotel staff. Alastair found it amusing that Naruto was terrified of a single succubus shooting at him. Husker felt bad for the boy and always provided him with drinks and lied about where he was hiding all the time. Angel just made fun of him and his aversion to Hex and teased him a bit about being a virgin, which led to either Naruto beating him up or Vaggie beating him up. Charlie and Vaggie, on the other hand, were doing their best to help treat the pop star while also preventing the former from killing her. Nifty, on the other hand, took an immediate dislike to the pop star and made it obvious, as she would always get between them and latch onto Naruto, yelling that she was entitled. Naruto sighed, walked down the stairs and entered the hall. Hey Husk! Naruto grumbled as he sat down, his head on the counter. The cat nodded and poured him his morning drink, scotch on the rocks. Naruto drank it instantly and sighed as he put the glass down, rubbing his eyes in annoyance. Another day in hell, huh? Naruto asked sarcastically. Yeah, but it's probably better than the shit that's going on in the living world right now. I hear all kinds of crazy stuff is going on there. Husker grunted as he turned to clean some glasses. Naruto nodded. It seemed that in some places humans were so narrow-minded and tried to be politically correct that he laughed. They tried that shit in hell. They'd be the first to be devoured or killed the moment they upset a demon. While he understands Charlie wanting to help lost souls and give them a chance at redemption, Naruto could understand Lucifer's argument that not all souls are redeemable, and that death in hell is bound to happen at some point or another. It's a matter of who could be saved and who couldn't. Naruto sighed, hearing screams from the upper floors. I bet it's that pop star again and your mom, Husker pointed out, as the two were constantly at odds. Naruto smiled at Husker. That's a silly bet if I ever see one because I'd bet on the same thing. Naruto chuckled as he smiled, really needing the levity right now. The cat shrugged and took a sip of his drink. Did you see Alaster this morning? Husker asked. Naruto shook his head. I have no idea. Most likely he's trying to avoid the sexual displays the girls are putting on these days. Naruto replied lazily. Husker nodded and held this information for the future so that he could get her to leave him alone by having some almost naked women or hex talk to discourage him from bothering him. So what's the plan for the day, Naruto? Husker asked, getting a nod in response as he tapped his glass, which Husker refilled. The usual stuff. Keeping the hotel running, keeping an eye on Angel and Verasika, keeping Charlie from killing said woman, and making sure everyone's doing what they need to do to keep this place running, Naruto said calmly as he heard a crash from upstairs. Sounds like a shitty work guy, Husker declared before taking a drink. Do you plan on doing more work? Naruto shrugged and brought the drink to his mouth. After what I got paid for the gig and killing that wash? Not really. Naruto finished his drink and refilled it. I have more than enough money to not really want anything. And besides, Charlie buys me stuff when I express interest. On top of that, I'm the only one who keeps people from breaking up with each other. In particular, Angel and Vaggie were the original duo that fought, but now Charlie and Verasika are fighting. Smelling a strong aroma, Naruto sighed. There goes my morning. Naruto grumbled before feeling arms wrapped around his shoulders, and felt a generous bus pushed against his back, causing his fur to prick up in shock and fear. Oh, darling, you don't have to be so harsh. Verasika purred at the feel of her body under his hands. Considering it's either leave or watch Charlie kill you, I prefer the option of me running. Naruto thought as he felt a small surge of emotion from Verasika touching him. Naruto drank the rest of his whiskey before trying to get up. Verasika, not having it, maneuvered herself to sit on his lap, preventing him from moving and forcing his eyes on her very seductive morning attire. Compared to Charlie and Vaggie, she chose something more daring and sexually appealing that even Husker had to reject with a small blush. I mean, the damn thing was practically transparent, and worse, I couldn't tell if there was anything underneath in terms of panties, and I really didn't want to know. Baby, you seem so stressed, why won't you let me take care of you? She began to put her hands around his shoulders and slowly massage them, making his fur stand up. Naruto felt a little hot under his skin and neck, but he kept his composure. But it broke when his tail began to slowly swish forward. Sorry, Verasika, I'm not interested. Naruto quickly picked her up by the waist, stood up, and placed her in her seat as he headed for the stairs. Verasika frowned before turning to Husker, who had a dead look in his eyes as he looked at her. So, Cat? Husker raised an eyebrow. He didn't like being called Cat. What's your deal? I mean, is there something wrong with me or something? Verasika ran her hands through her hair, then grabbed her breasts. I mean, I have the idiot masses drooling over me in both worlds, and yet he seems almost immune to my charm. Husker sighed before taking a sip of beer. It's not my department. Go bother someone else about that shit. Then he burped, some of his saliva hitting Verasika, making her flinch in disgust. Besides, I'm not supposed to be serving you anyway. He dismissed her with his claws. The woman frowned angrily before leaving the room and heading back upstairs, leaving Husker sighing and regretting the day's inconvenience. Naruto at this point returned to his room and changed while checking his phone for recent news about the concert and the disaster that came from it. 2 weeks and my whole life feels like it's falling apart. Naruto heard Angel moan through the walls. Angel! Vaggie screamed before the sound of property destruction echoed through the hotel. Excellent. Naruto said expressionlessly as he put on his jacket. Naruto quickly left his room and went down the stairs to the point of the noise. As he entered the room, he saw Angel sitting there with a grumbling look on his face and Vaggie infuriating him with the messy room. Fortunately, Angel's pet pig, Fat Nuggets, was safe in his little bed, watching Angel and Vaggie, before he noticed Naruto and oinked. "Excuse me." They both turned to him, one looking at him with sweat dripping down his face, and the other looking a little relieved. "Naruto, it's good to see you," Vaggie said, regaining her composure enough to speak calmly. "What's going on, Vaggie?" Naruto asked, wanting to get to the point. "Angel has been providing online services from her phone for clients," Vaggie said, turning her head to point and look at the spider. Naruto raised an eyebrow and looked at the star and waved his hand. "Wait. She thinks that's what's happening, but I swear," Angel said defensively. Naruto shook his head and reached out. "Give me the phone," Naruto ordered calmly. "No way," Angel growled, but Naruto just glared at him. "The fact that you won't let me check what she's talking about means Vaggie is right. Unless you have something to hide, let me have the phone and see what's going on," Naruto said irritably. "What did I do to deserve this shit today?" Angel grunted but reluctantly handed it over. Naruto opened the screen and entered the password. He got it after 2 incidents in the past before the announcement, and looked at his screen. On the phone were photos of Angel during the time she spent with her boss and the time she spent with her friend Cherry Bomb. She scrolled through them and discovered that the most recently used app was a video app. After clicking on it, she saw that she had recorded a video. Watching the video, she saw something that made her eyes widen. "When did you have time to record something like this?" Naruto burst out in a panicked tone, somewhat embarrassed. Vaggie, confused, tried to look, but Naruto quickly kept the phone out of sight. "Naruto, what is it?" she asked worriedly. Naruto shook his head. His fur had shades of red, and quickly typed a few things before handing the phone back to a smiling Angel. "She was behaving herself, sort of. That's all you need to know," Naruto said as he looked away, not wanting to make eye contact with Vaggie. Vaggie frowned even more before turning to Angel. "What were you looking at?" he demanded. Angel shrugged and rolled his eyes. "I'm not sure. He could have watched one of my old hex tapes, maybe my pole dancing, or hell, he could have seen something from one of my videos during the porn shoots I did a few months ago." Angel shrugged as he sat on his bed and stretched. Fat Nuggets climbed onto the bed and snuggled up with him. "Who knows? But doesn't that mean if he saw me and believed me, then it's okay?" He smirked. "Then you can do a Q breath." Vaggie glared at him and her bow turned into horns. "Don't push your luck, Angel. You'll find it's bad advice." He stomped out of the room to talk to Charlie about something Angel had done and see if he could get the phone. Angel laughed before opening his phone again and playing the video with what he saw as a new caption. "Delete this or I'll kill you if Lucifer doesn't do it first." Huh. He smiled and played the video again. Who knew things got so heated between those two? "Charlie, do you really want to try this? Come on. It could be fun, just put on the collar." "Okay, let's never talk about this outside of the two of us. I'd hate for Angel to know about our explorations." Vaggie put on the collar and leash, and Charlie smiled as she crawled toward her in her underwear while licking her lips. Charlie then touched the front of her panties, and a black leash appeared. Vaggie started to slowly drag her tongue down the dildo, and this made Charlie's eyes turn red for a second as Vaggie gave her a sultry look before she started reaching for the tip. From there, she opened her mouth and started going down the dildo. Charlie just moaned. She showed that she was feeling the sensation somehow, and before anything else, she pushed her head down the dildo, making her take the whole thing in the back of her throat. "Man, the princess has some interesting problems." He laughed, but he heard his phone ring and a message pop up. Upon opening it, he saw Naruto staring at his phone with red eyes and the caption, "Don't test me. Delete that video." "Wow, what a buzz!" Angel groaned with a smile before pressing a few buttons and then deleting the video. "I can't wait to hear about this." Naruto shook his head as he really didn't need to know about his mother's indiscretions with Vaggie. Walking down the hall, he found Nifty cleaning everything in sight and hurrying him along. "Man!" Naruto simply turned to the side and quickly tripped her down the hallway. "Watch your step." Turning, he walked down the aisle. "I need another drink." "I want you!" Nifty screamed as he landed at the bottom of the stairs, as if he felt no pain. "I'll get to you, eventually." With his statement made, Nifty returned to his cleaning duty. "I swear everyone is so interested in my hex life, it's crazy. I don't even advertise that shit." Because you're a virgin, that's why. Naruto turned his head and saw Angel standing there, smug. Sorry, virgin pup, everyone's going to give you shit until you start dating and lose your V. He snapped his fingers, his index finger pointing at Naruto. I get it. You don't have a girl because you can't pick her up and she's so tiny it's ridiculous. Naruto's eyes widened and he dropped his phone with shaking hands. Hey, there's no shame. I mean, you know the saying that ain't dash. He felt death and looked up, seeing Naruto's body covered with his dark red aura that he saw killing that snake demon, and his dark red eyes. The teeth pierced through him and he realized that Naruto was going to kill him. Oh shit! The spider demon ran down the hallway. Help, wild dog! Wild dog on the loose! All throughout the hotel, people saw Angel running as Naruto broke through everything in his path to put his hand on the former porn star and wrap it around her neck. The day progressed after they managed to calm Naruto down, and Charlie hit Angel for mentioning Naruto's hex life and virginity issues. After this, Charlie organized Angel and Verasika's sharing circle. It went south instantly when Verasika purposely said things to anger Charlie, which in turn made Angel laugh out loud. In the afternoon, Naruto saw Angel drinking while Verasika sat in a chair trying to hide that she was looking between him and the drink on the bar. Verasika wasn't allowed to drink anything while at the hotel and had already been caught sneaking alcohol into her room. After conducting a strip search following the discovery of the alcohol, they only found a flask on her thigh, and that was a place Naruto didn't look since Vaggie knew why she was there, and it wasn't to be hidden. Naruto was scrolling through his phone to find some new ideas for himself and a reason to leave the hotel tomorrow. His mother gave him a day a week where he could be gone for most of the day while she and Vaggie took care of the clients, and he enjoyed himself or did some other work. I could take this up with Valentino tomorrow, or I could find something interesting to do at the Hellhound Agency. Hellhound Agency, as the name suggests. Hellhounds could go there to submit resumes and be hired by anyone who wanted them for a variety of jobs. Some got bodyguard work like techs, others got hex work that was more profitable for them than working in a club, bartending, or any of the other jobs in hell they could do if they had the skill and the looks. However, Naruto was a unique case, as not only was he the most expensive, but he wasn't listed under his normal name and only went by the title of King of Hellhounds. Naruto had the right to turn down jobs due to his worth and the fact that he's leading Hellhounds to become more independent than other races in Hell. The best part was, he managed to get his race to learn by example and truly expand their own skills and talents while managing his own reputation to compete with even the highest non-noble devils if done correctly. Looking at the job listing on their site, he saw one with his name on it, and it said, Hellhound Inspection. Hellhound is said to be working for an imp corporation in Imp City. Reports indicate she works as a secretary for an independent imp assassination cult known as IMP, Immediate Kill Professionals. We need a wellness check on the Hellhound to see if they need anything right now and if they need to find new work and support in the coming months. The rate is the same as previous jobs of a similar nature. Please reply as soon as possible. Welfare checks were rare in Hellhound cases. Most people either didn't care what happened to them or treated them like garbage. Fortunately, through him that is changing, and his agency is controlling certain Hellhounds that might be in dangerous positions due to recent conflicts with the imps. Lucifer said my success could lead to conflict with the imps and Hellhounds because he didn't want to be seen as the lowest ranking race in all of Hell. Hell, if they want to fix what they could, they have members who could raise their prestige, but they don't do it for selfish or arrogant reasons. Naruto sent a text message to the agency. Contract signed. I'll look into it tomorrow. Naruto closed the site and looked at his text messages, smiling at what he read. Yo! It's Texas, man! My girlfriend and I are going to be at Giovanni's house tomorrow. Wanna join us and some others for some drinks and some fun? Sure man, but I'm not paying for everyone's drinks like last time, winky face in. No problem, buddy, the last job paid so well, the drinks are on me, see you at 8. That gives me time to do the wellness check and then go to the bar later, have a few drinks, and have some fun. Plus, knowing that slime Giovanni, I might have to do something. And he hung up the phone, looked at the S and saw Charlie and Vaggie there too, talking with Angel and Verasika about the things they had tomorrow for their treatment. You can see her enthusiasm, Naruto thought sarcastically. They were both rolling their eyes, and Verasika was winking at him with her face covered by the magazine until Vaggie, needing to get her attention, stabbed her and threw it away. Nifty caught it out of nowhere and continued with his cleaning. Just another day at the Hazbin Hotel. Naruto took a sip of his drink and smiled, before he felt his phone ring and saw a message. Unknown number. You have something that belongs to me. I want it back. Dash? Sorry, it belongs to the hotel now, but we can negotiate terms, unless you want to start a war and draw everyone's attention to yourself and possibly the wrath of Lucifer. And I'm not afraid of you, you damn mutt. I almost had you all those years ago, and I'll get my property back. One way or another. Dash, do you want to bet on that? I promise you won't, but I'm willing to negotiate the terms if you want to be an adult instead of a child. Or would the hitch be more appropriate for your things? And come see me tomorrow at my house. Let the front desk know. If you try to screw me or piss me off, I promise you that not even your dear mother will save you from my wrath. Dash, I don't need her to fight my battles, moth fanatic, but I'll be there tomorrow night, though don't wait up, I don't want you to feel like this is anything but business. And I'll see you then, tell my dear angel that I'll see him soon. Dash? Naruto rolled his eyes before turning off his phone and looking at Angel. He could see her attention was on him, and judging by her appearance and the phone in her hand, he'd received a few similar messages. Which meant Valentino wasn't going to back down, and was going to get Angel back one way or another. Naruto mouthed, "Relax, I'll take care of it. You focus on recovery." Angel frowned but nodded slightly. Naruto walked up the stairs and what no one could see was that his eyes were turning red with small blinks. Moth game, motherbucker. He, it's good to see you're taking things as seriously as before. Naruto looked around, not seeing the source of the voice. Bucket! Naruto muttered in confusion. I may be crazy, but I swear. We'll meet in time, Naruto, soon but not now. Who's there? Naruto demanded, looking around before concentrating on listening for any excessive breathing. Not listening to the voice for a minute, Naruto shook his head as he headed to his room. I need to get some rest because tomorrow was going to be a busy day. Naruto thought he needed to rest to deal with his grandparents. It could only get worse once it starts. Chapter 4. Routine check, annoying puncture. Naruto dusted off his shirt, making sure he looked somewhat presentable before heading out. He had a lot to do today. Okay, Mom, I'm going. Naruto called Charlie. Charlie, standing in the doorway, had a worried expression on his face while Vaggie kept one of her hands on his shoulder. While she didn't show it, she did care about Naruto, but not as much as Charlie. Naruto, please stay safe and if you need anything please call. I'll be there in a jiffy. Charlie said as she hugged him tightly. Naruto's sweat dropped as he hugged her before separating. I can defeat overlords and make even the most powerful nobles tremble at the sight of me, and she still cares for me. I guess it's a mother's love or something. Relax. Naruto put on his hoodie, which had a black pentagram on it to contrast the now white hoodie. He personally liked the design given that Lucifer gave it to him when he moved in with Charlie about a year ago. I just need to take care of a few of these things today, and they won't cause any unnecessary problems. That's not true, given the recent tension against the imps your kind is facing. This could bring more trouble and bloodshed to your doorstep. Vaggie chimed in. Naruto scratched the back of his neck and without looking jumped over a small blur, Nifty, that tried to tackle him. None of those little devils would have the balls to look me down, and even if they tried, I know for a fact I can handle anything they throw at me. He smiled and without hesitation kissed his mother on the cheek. I'll be fine. Naruto looked at Vaggie and gave her a mocking wink. He kissed her on the cheek, making her blush slightly and giving him a conflicted look. Later, Naruto walked out the door, hearing a voice yell no more than a second after the door closed, and it sounded like his mother was yelling at Verasika. Geez, some things just don't change in this place no matter what. Naruto muttered with a humorous smile. Walking to the front of the hotel, a limo pulls up and the back door opens with him jumping into the back seat. Where to go first, Lord Magna? Xavier asked as he looked at Naruto through the rearview mirror. First, Naruto, second head to IMP City. I want to do the welfare check first before I have to address the other problem. Naruto said with slight irritation. Of course, Lord Naruto. The back window rolled up, blocking a knife, which Vaggie had thrown at him, that Naruto had thrown at him. Stupid! Naruto grunted as he crossed his arms before groaning. First his talk with Angel and then this mess. Yeah, he wasn't happy in the slightest. Flashback. Naruto, listen, you can't go to Valentino's house, Angel said with hidden panic. Why not? Naruto rubbed the back of his neck and yawned. She woke him up at 5 in the morning for this. Look, I know you think you're tough and all, and honestly, your power and skill far surpass his, But you don't know what the man will do and how underhanded all his tactics are. Angel responded with concern. Naruto shook his head. Look, Angel, it may not look like it, but I know what I'm doing here. Now you may think I don't know what the moth monster is capable of, but the truth is, I know more than most what he's willing and able to do. Her left ear twitched slightly, catching Angel's attention as he saw the part of her ear that was still missing. Wait for your saying dash. I'm not sure if I'm being honest. But since the demons who came for me wanted me as their boss and he was the only one I could think of who wanted a blue-eyed hellhound, my suspicions are on him. Naruto replied while keeping a distant look in his eyes. Angel looked at Naruto, then looked down trembling. Aren't you terrified of him then? I mean, he did that to you and now you're willing to throw yourself into his lair where who knows what's waiting for you? Angel asked as he looked at his friend in disbelief. Naruto sighed. Look, Angel, I don't know what's going to be waiting for me. Honestly, maybe it's an ambush, maybe it's a trap, or hell, he might have someone there trying to capture me to get to you. Honestly, I don't know. Naruto looked out the window and saw the red moon going down. But there's one thing I won't do, and that's be afraid of him. He gripped his claws and his eyes turned red for a minute, before turning blue. I refuse to let that man intimidate me anymore. I met a Laster, who is 100 times scarier than him. I dealt with Magna's family, assassins, angels, and all sorts of foul evils and beasts in this world. And you know what? Angel looked up and saw the ferocity on his face, and the small smile on his face that made him more intimidating thanks to his bright eyes. I've conquered or surpassed them all. Now look at me. He waved his arms. I'm the Hellhound who has made my people more important, built their agencies, trained us for the next generation, and even managed to put us in the rankings on par with most races so that we are no longer considered trash, just another race. I lead reforms without knowing it half the time, and I've also become the most feared of my kind and the man who is respected and feared by all the major players in Hell. He looked up at the ceiling now and imagined his childhood with the Magna, meeting everyone, training with his Hellhound master, and all the battles and fights he got involved in. Then he remembered his younger self as a human, a blond boy surrounded by jeers and mockery, dark figures who reached out to torture the boy, and then reached up to the ceiling to try and grab the boy. Who I was as a human no longer matters. I don't even remember anything from that time since all my memories are now here in Hell. He leaned back with his hands resting on the bed, letting Angel admire his leathery chest and the definition of his muscular figure. I live, Angel. She looked at his face and saw pure determination. I live by my own code, my own rules, my own ideals, and my own identity. If nothing else from this hotel, I want you to take it seriously, okay? Angel watched, and when McNuggets climbed onto the bed and licked his leg, he smiled and hugged his pig. Yeah, I think I'll try. I don't mean to say I'll make things easy for you. He laughed a little. I don't plan on making things easy for Charlie or Taco, but I'll at least try your way of thinking. Naruto nodded, raised his hands in the air, and landed on the ground with a flip before walking towards the door. Reaching the door. Angel. He looked up. If this works out, if nothing goes wrong, and you won't give me any trouble after I get back tomorrow, then I'll make special arrangements for you to go out with me to Giovanni's and have a little fun with some friends of mine and Cherry Bomb. The angel's eyes widened. Are you serious? Does that mean I can drink while I'm there? Naruto sighed. Mom, forgive me. Yes, but only to the point where I have one of my friends watching you and you're not trying to pole dance or have drugs or hex, you understand? Don't you dare violate my trust while we're there. Angel smiled brightly. He had been locked in the hotel for the past few weeks and after little to no progress in his treatment to hear that if he behaved until Naruto returned he could go out and party. Oh hell yeah. You got it. Good. That means if I find out you fall off the wagon while I'm gone, you won't have another way out for quite some time, understood? The spider demon nodded quickly and his pig grunted in agreement, and they both lay down with Naruto hearing him fall asleep quite easily. Naruto smiled and left the room and got ready for his day. Hey, he was already up, why not? Flashback end. We are here, Lord Naruto. Snapping out of his thoughts, he looked over and saw a dark building with the words IMPHQ written across the top. What a shitty building. Indeed, sir. Should I call someone else to handle this? Naruto sighed. 1. I already accepted the job. 2. No one else could do this job. And 3. Just call me Naruto. Damn it. Xavier smiled, watching the young teacher get out of the car and stand on the sidewalk in front of the building. I'll be back in an hour, okay? Yes, Lord Naruto. Naruto watched the limousine speed away and Naruto could only stare at the car in annoyance. That damn little son of a hitch! He took a deep breath and entered the building. Upon entering, he saw a main lobby, nothing special at this point, and continued through the hallways and to the elevator. On the way, he managed to reach the top floor of the building and saw signs for various agencies and whatnot. Most were small businesses or similar, trying to make a living in hell. Ironically, these are the same imps that people hold in too high a regard and ultimately see as nothing more than slaves to be disposed of if necessary. But Naruto knew that due to their unassuming nature, sometimes, given the right conditions and reasons, they could dispatch even noble devils with ease and become overlords if they tried. But most are too selfish or greedy in pursuit of other goals that they fail in any attempt to be taken as seriously as the rest of their race. Also, I don't think my job has here's the office and what the hell does that say? Impo's headquarters, meeting in progress. You know what? I'm not even going to ask. I'm going to finish this and put that moth freak down before I head back to the hotel. Naruto knocked on the door and waited for a response, but got none. Knocking again, this time louder, nothing came out but some screams on the other side of the door. Naruto knocked once more, and this time he was banging on the door with his fist. Knock on my door one more time, ass, and you're licking my ass! Naruto has a tick mark on his forehead. Son of a hitch, now I'm pissed off. Without hesitation, Naruto kicked the door and sent it flying across the room and through the window, down the street, landing on an orange-hooded demon and crushing it underneath. Kekni! Back at the office, Naruto walked in with a frown on his face, his fangs beginning to show. My name is Naruto. I'm here on behalf of the Hellhound Agency, here to do a welfare check on a Luna Hellhound. In the room, Naruto noticed 3 imps and a Hellhound. One of the imps had black hair, curly horns, a black sword tail, golden eyes, a heart tattoo on her shoulder, and was wearing what looked like a torn black dress. Beside her was a white-haired imp wearing a formal suit, a tail, golden eyes, and what appeared to be black and white horns. He seemed frustrated but worried about something. The last imp was taller than the two of them with a curved head that reminded Naruto of some idiot, having to go through Angel's room looking for contraband, found tons of shit like this and knows more about Highschool anatomy than he's comfortable with. He wears a black suit and a white shirt, and he assumes it's a tie. The man had white markings on his face and over one of his eyes and seemed to share golden eyes with the rest of the imps. He has a long tail and wore a massive scowl on his face. What the hell, asshole? You owe us a new door. Naruto gained another tick mark. If you had opened the door, idiot, that wouldn't have happened. You're right, sir. Shut up, Moxie. Naruto sighed and rubbed his eyes with his hand. Look, I'm just here to do a welfare check on Aluna Carnival. So, can you please, is that a human child hooked up to a heart monitor? Looking to the back of the room, Naruto saw a boy wearing an orange shirt, a blue cap, and puffed out cheeks standing there on a heart monitor. How the hell do you know what? Naruto just rubbed his face more and just groaned. I'm not even going to act like I saw the kid in this office. Just let me do my job and go. Hey, it's been a while, huh, Naruto? Turning his head, Naruto saw a beautiful hellhound with long, gray hair, gray fur with a few white spots on it like its ears and around its chest and legs. Its long, busy tail was black on top and white underneath and just hung loose on the ground passing through the hole in the chair. It had white pupils in its eyes with red around the pupil, and was wearing revealing black shorts, and a small gray t-shirt pulled tight to its chest with a pentagram on it that allowed people bold enough to look inside its chest. I know you? Luna frowned. Yeah, Gluttony Ring, an old orphanage, a rusty old crone you managed to dispatch? Naruto scratched the back of his neck and then snapped his claws. Oh right, I think I remember now. Flashback. Naruto wasn't even 6 years old, and he was tired. He was tired of being treated like shit, of being attacked by the other hound dogs who thought they were so tough until he knocked out one of their fangs, and tired of having little to nothing to eat. Shit! A brutal kick to the stomach sent him crashing against the wall with a thud. I know you were the one who stole my drugs! Where are they? And I promise if there's anything left I won't gut you. Naruto felt her wrap her claws around his neck and he began to choke. I don't have them. Liar, sweet little Marcus told me you stole them. Of course he did. After I kicked him and his bully yesterday, I wanted to do anything to get revenge. Naruto tried to break her grip, but she hit his head against the wall. Don't you dare try it, you little shit! Naruto saw it, his vision around his eyes, they were fading. Hypocrisy. Black. Out still. Just as it was about to happen, he heard the flesh tearing. Ah! Shit, I should have thrown you in the trash when I had the chance. The woman released Naruto, and he choked on air as he watched a girl with short gray hair and red eyes walk away from the matron. He managed to avoid her grasp for now. She saved me? Huh, weird feeling. Naruto grunted lightly. She's going to get hurt. I might as well return the favor and end this mess once and for all. The midwife grabbed the girl's tail and dragged her upside down to see her face. She groaned. Do you want to die too much, dwarf? The girl didn't hesitate and spat in her face, causing the matron to scream and hit her face against the ground with a disgusting crunch. Before the matron could stomp on the girl's head, ending her life, she felt something chewing on her throat. Without hesitation, Naruto bit down and aimed with all his might, ripping her throat out. She threw her head back as hard as she could, and without any chance to react, the midwife found herself choking on her own blood and bleeding on the floor. No, my life can't end like this. She watched her world fade away as Naruto wiped the blood from his muzzle. By the way, Marcus stole your drugs, not me. But he was what the thought stopped, and Naruto watched as the matron lay motionless. Turning his head, he looked at the girl and saw that although she was a little short of blood, she was neither dead nor badly hurt. Hey, can you stand up? The girl's eyes were blurred and they saw the blue eyes of the hound they saved. Yes, a bit. Naruto sighed. Okay, stay safe. I'm going to fix something and then I'm out of here, okay? Wait. He tried to reach out, but the boy was gone. I don't even know his name. Looking over to where his bed was, he saw it written across the front. Naruto, Naruto, I'll find you again. Luna soon passed out unaware that Naruto had beaten Marcus and his friends within an inch of their lives. So much so that the other kids stood back and let him go without any resistance or killing intent. Flashback ends. Luna. Yeah, I remember you and I killed the matron all those years ago. The man talks about a coincidence. The girl smiled. Yeah, after that day the other kids still talk about you. Man, you scare the hell out of them. Naruto laughed a little. Yeah, killing someone at his age and beating up stronger kids on his multiple occasions tends to lead to that. Wait, hold it for once. Both Hellhounds looked over and saw Blitzo angry. Are you telling me you've known each other since childhood? How the hell didn't you tell me this, Luna? The girl shrugged. You never asked? Blitzo raised a finger and then realized she was right. Naruto coughed. Well, anyway, Luna, I'm just here to do a wellness check on you. He sat down in the chair across from her, thanking Moxie for moving, pulled out his phone, and asked her a few generic questions. Luna Carnival, is it true that you were adopted by said IMP Blitzo? Or keep quiet. When you were 17? Yeah, I was. What about you? Luna asked a little shyly. I was about 6 when I was adopted, honestly, out of nowhere, as expected of the Princess of Hell. Naruto replied, ready to catch up with Luna while they went through the quiz. Luna giggled a little at this, and hid her eyes wandering over his body. How delicious. Such a fantastic body, and yet he has that worn, torn warrior look. Oh, I wonder if he'd be up for something, doggy style. She sighed internally, though he might not be interested if he found out about my condition. So, Naruto continued, ignoring Blitzo's screams in his ear until he kicked him against the wall. You work here at this IMP, correct? Yes, it stands for Instant Kill Professionals. Ah, I see. Naruto recalled a commercial he saw while flipping through channels a while back. I take it you work as one of the assassins? She shook her head. Secretary, it pays well and I can have fun in my free time. Moxie coughs. It's more like being silly and not really helping the company. Luna gave him the middle finger after slowly lifting it from below. Naruto just sweated a little more. Right. Looking at the next question. How would you describe your life right now? Are there any major concerns? Luna rubbed her jaw. Honestly, she knew the correct answer, but another one could lead to something else. Honestly. He looked at Naruto with a small smile. While sometimes this job sucks, Blitzo is a pain in the ass and annoying, Moxie won't lose weight no matter what, and Millie has to make up for her lack of a jerk. The room fumed and hurt Blitzo. I'd say I'd rather not go anywhere else. This place is actually good for me, and while he's suffocating, I do. He sighed. He knew what was going to happen with this comment. Love him like he's my father. The room fell silent. Naruto registered her answers and saw that she was telling the truth about everything. Moxie and Millie are surprised at how nice Luna was being about working here, and while she was insulting them, they realized that she enjoyed her job here at IMP and spending time with them. Blitzo? Oh, my girl, I love you so much. I'm so happy you're in my life. Luna felt Blitzo nuzzling his face against hers, and she just sighed, letting him enjoy the moment, since this is rare for them. Besides, maybe this way he'll try to listen to her more about what she wants instead of assuming. I'm fine with Luna. It seems like there's nothing wrong right now, and there's no other concern than the human one in the corner. But other than that, it seems like your living arrangements are fine. Luna nodded as Blitzo kissed her cheek and rubbed his head against her face, making her more and more annoyed as time went on. Is there anything you need right now? She thought about it. Wouldn't you know if there's a cure for syphilis? Naruto raised an eyebrow. Someone's been promiscuous. Luna blushed slightly. Blitzo just basked in the warmth against his daughter, ignoring the situation. Well, there's a cure for the disease in the human world. If you're in the early stages, then it should be treatable. I'll ask someone to deliver it as soon as possible. Naruto texted this information to the agency, who sent one of their own to the surface to retrieve the medicine and deliver it to Luna. Luna smiled happily. Thanks. By the way, can we exchange numbers? I don't have too many friends these days, and it would be nice to catch up. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this and smiled. Sure, why not? Naruto quickly gave her his number, and she gave him hers, leading Blitzo to snap out of his happy mode and now yell at Moxie about the company's failures and how he was always talking. Luna and Millie soon got involved, leading the boy to finally say, You guys are a bunch of morons. Everyone turned to the boy and Naruto raised an eyebrow. Wasn't the boy close to death's door? Oh, shut up, kid. Lucky you to witness this. It's been hell pretending to be in bed so you idiots don't kill me, but now I want that. He held his cheeks and groaned. I want death. He pointed at Blitzo first. You're a stupid, selfish clown and I'm a kid who's supposed to like clowns. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the sudden contraction Blitzo was showing. Clowns must be a sore spot for him or something. Hey, that's not very. If I wanted to hear the words of a spineless fool, I'd rip out your spine and make you talk. Soon Millie got involved. That's my husband. Ha! That's your husband. The two of them groaned at this comment. I thought you were a slut, but I didn't think you needed a cock that badly. This gave Naruto a feeling of, shit, this kid is about to get killed, for sure. And you? Pointing at Luna. What about me? Nothing, I don't talk to dogs, I'm a cat person. The boy looked smug and this comment irritated Naruto as well. Bucking cat lover. He's so bucking lucky that there's nothing that's going to allow me to make his ass fall out the window. Hey, if a kid talked like that and acted like that, then there was no reason he couldn't dream of throwing such an annoying piece of shit like him to death. Also, that's a dog over there who looks like he's missing balls. This comment made Naruto freeze and Luna, seeing the look in his eyes, said, You all might want to hide under the tables. She quickly ran downstairs with Millie, dragging Moxie and Blitzo with her and hiding as they could feel the pressure building in the room. Luna moaned at the power, and although she was a little excited, she knew from some of the things she found about him recently, this was a clear sign that someone was going to die. Walking slowly, Naruto looked at the boy who still looked smug about his comment, and that caused this reaction in him. Standing right in front of him, he smiled. So, someone thinks highly of themselves. He smiled. Let's take you back downstairs. Without warning, Naruto slapped the boy on the butt, sending him through the window and to the ground. A splat could be heard and some devil screaming in the street about a child falling from the tall building and looking up to see who had caused it. What the buck, dipshit? Turning his head, he saw Blitzo punching him in the chest. That kid wasn't the target. Killing him is going to damage our reputation. Seriously, how the hell could he do something so stupid? Naruto narrowed his eyes. Do you want to join him then? A dark red and black aura began to form around Naruto, and the ground was beginning to crack. His eyes were glowing but began to flicker red for split seconds. Blitzo growled. Come on, idiot! Blitzo said as he prepared to fight Naruto. I'll make you suck my cock as an apology. Pulling out a flintlock, he aimed, but Naruto slashed the gun, causing it to fall comically to the ground in small circles. Do you want to try again? Blitzo growled until Luna answered a ring on her phone and then shot out from under the table. But you guys, that was the client. The guy was our target. Blitzo turned to Luna and frowned. Did our client want us to kill a real child? That's what he's saying. Blitzo looked down in embarrassment but smiled afterwards. Christ on a stick, I guess there is a god. Turning to Naruto, he found him holding him by the neck and looking into his eyes. The only reason I'm not putting you through the same window is because it would hurt Luna. Try this again and Luna, or I won't send you out into the world after this jerk. Naruto dropped it to the ground and took a deep breath before greeting Luna. See you, Luna. Text me if you want to hang out or something. If they don't have your medicine in a week, let me know, too. Naruto said as he headed for the door. Luna blushed and waved. Sure thing. Naruto walked out of the office and Blitzo yelled. Moxie, Get the body, we need to get it back before someone sees it or other demons come and eat it before we get paid. Naruto rolled his eyes and took the elevator to the ground floor and walked out to the building, seeing the limo waiting for him as he had texted her while he was in the elevator, and Xavier never goes far. Opening the back door, he sat down in the seat. Everything okay, sir? I was too tired and upset to argue. Yeah, okay, but don't tell Mom about the body on the streets. Xavier raised an eyebrow, and looking outside he saw a human child being torn apart by a purple tentacle demon, but he saw him shot in the head by a red imp with white hair, and him taking the body inside, leaving the demon dead in the streets. I see, I want to know, sir. No, and is there any extra money so you don't tell Charlie about this? About? Exactly. Xavier put his foot on the accelerator and began to drive away. How was the meeting? The good thing is that the Hellhound is a friend from my days at the orphanage. Ah, that must have been nice to see. Naruto laughed lightly. Well, it was until his literally penis-shaped father decided to get really annoying sometimes. Naruto rolled his eyes. I'm surprised they don't think some of us know how they're doing their jobs in the human world. In fact, I think Lord Magna finds it quite entertaining, and as long as they don't cause too much trouble in the human world, they won't be much more than entertainment. Naruto laughed. Yeah, I guess. Naruto frowned. Though I wonder which noble handed over their book like that. I mean, it has to be someone in the royal lines in hell who has magical affinities, and not many of them have that. What about the Goichia family? I think the Prince Stolas is quite strong and might fall for someone like that imp if he's as you described. Maybe. Naruto rolled his eyes. Well, that's neither here nor there. I have to get ready for my next stop, the bucking Valentino thing. Do me a favor, Xavier, when we get there. Yeah? Go away and let me walk back to the hotel, mister? I know it's asking a lot of you, but this isn't a situation where I'm going to allow anyone related to me in one way or another to be open to that scheming moth pimp. Xavier looked at his rearview mirror and saw the concern on her face and sighed. Of course, sir, I'll be around as if Lady Charlie finds out I'm leaving you. I dare say she'll gut me in an instant. Naruto smiled. Don't worry, I'll take care of her if necessary. Naruto threw his head back and sighed. Man, this next part is going to suck for sure. Hotel. Charlie was doing her session with Angel and noticed a faraway look in his eyes. While the group session was a failure, at least this time Angel seemed more distracted than bothering her or Vaggie. He hasn't even insulted her once today. How strange. Angel? The spider demon turned his head. That? Charlie smiled. Is something bothering you? You seem less sarcastic than usual today. Angel sighed before leaning back in his chair. Just worried, that's all. You know where this is going, right? Yes, but don't worry, Naruto has dealt with people like him before and I trust him to handle himself if things get out of hand. Angel frowned. If you knew how far he'll go to get his property, you wouldn't be so sure. While Angel paid no attention to politics, he knew that in terms of the power structure in hell it was simple. The royal family is the strongest. Charlie, his father and his mother. Noble families, Goichia and similar. Overlords, Alaster, Red Pimp, Valentino, Vox, etc. Human turned demon and most of the demons born from hell, himself and the others. Among them, Valentino is not powerful but has enough connections and means through blackmail and other resources to get what he wants even from the nobles, and there were no lies. He was great at Highschool exchanges. He wouldn't be against using nobles and the same to get to Naruto to get to him. Naruto might not fear him anymore, but Angel sure did. After all this time, he's the one person he fears more than anyone else, and honestly, he's not sure he wants to face him again or anyone from his previous life. Look, Angel. Taking her hands. Naruto is going to be okay. Valentino and Alaster are two overlords he's faced off against most recently, and honestly, he's committed to this hotel and helping you more than anything. I don't think he has to. I'm telling you, Naruto cares about you, not in a romantic way. She waved her hands frantically. But more like a brother or best friend, you know? Angel nodded, imagining that. Yeah, if that's okay with you, can we cut the session short today? I'm just not in the mood for sharing and caring. Charlie smiled. At least he asked. Sure, tell Husker I said you can use the bar a little more tonight, okay? Thank you. Angel was about to leave but remembered Naruto's words. Live your life the way you want to live it. Sighing, he stepped away from the door and approached Charlie. She raised an eyebrow, before suddenly hugging herself. Thank you, Charlie, for believing in me when no one else would. She released his hug and quickly left the room, and Charlie could only let out a scream that could be heard throughout the hotel. Angel had taken his first real step. It was a great day for everyone. Chapter 5. Luna was sitting in her room looking at some pictures she'd found on the internet. Plus, pictures of Naruto. Most of the photos were just him fighting some of the demons in hell from a couple of years ago, and considering the guy was still kicking ass and taking names, he was doing it more frequently now. Sadly, his actions had the effect of allowing some of the other demons to roam those neighborhoods and claim them for themselves, even starting new gangs led by different overlords of varying sizes and methods. Luna would know, she'd seen a group led by an imp, and he runs it like a mafia syndicate. Flipping through some more photos, she licked her lips at the sight of a shirtless Naruto during one of their outings when he was trying on clothes. What's more, his body was muscular beneath his fur, and he even had the scars that Luna felt were a significant twist, showing that his time on the streets was never forgotten. Plus, that means she can take as much pain as she can dish it out, which leads her to think other thoughts. Suddenly, her phone rang and she saw that one of her friends was online and sent her an email. Owl Princess 2245. Oh, hello, Hellhound. How is your day? Pretty good, you? Oh, I just do my best to avoid my parents. Damn it. They keep fighting to the point where others notice it just by walking by our house. Even then they see Mom walk out the front door angry, and then they get more bent out of shape. Damn, is everything screwed up because your dad cheated? Oh yeah. I don't mind either way, but it's still bucking annoying. And you? Did you see I had a post mentioning I'd seen an old friend again? Yeah. I met him when I was in the orphanage, and I saw him again after he became famous and shit. It was nice. Oh, famous how? Luna tagged a photo she had saved of Naruto in his casual clothes and a white hoodie with inverted crosses. She then sent the photo to Owl. Oh, no shit. You're friends with the legendary Bloodhound. Yes, we met before, and honestly, he was scared back then. But he was the first person who showed us that we could fight and prove ourselves in this world. He was truly a comfort to most of us growing up. Oh, are you still in the area? Luna raised an eyebrow. No, why do you know him too? Oh yes, but I have to go. My parents are calling. Okay, text me anytime. Oh yes, you are off on days ending in Y, right? Yes. Winky face. Luna then saw her pink profile indicating that she went offline, but couldn't help but wonder, why did you care that I knew Naruto? Most don't even know his name unless they run into him or talk to people in the right places. She shrugged. Oh well, time to see if I can find the one where he's trying on underwear or better yet bathing on the beaches of lust. Elsewhere in hell, there was a click on the computer, and a teenage owl was sitting there. He's wearing gothic clothing, a hat on top of his head with a crown designed in needlework, and he's wearing headphones in his ears, which you can't see unless you look closely under his feathers. She had long feathers around her body, matching her black hair that ran down her back and contrasted with her purple/red eyes. She had a black-tipped beak and walked hunched over, knowing what her parents wanted, and she really didn't want to get involved in the mix. Even more so, she now had to drag herself out of her room after finding out her online friend had met him. It feels like an eternity since I last got a good lead on where in hell to start looking for him. For a notorious bloodhound, he doesn't really make it easy, plus my mom would freak out if I left the house looking for him. Buck, I hate it here. Walking down the hallway, he could hear his mother screaming and his father trying to calm her down. But it was proving to be useless as the fighting grew louder and louder as he approached the main living room. The room was decorated as one would expect from a nobleman. Luxurious furniture, paintings of the lord and lady of the house and herself, and fine rugs and decorations adorning the room. The room had a dark color scheme, with purple and black being the most prominent colors. I can't believe you were sucking off that damn little devil in our bedroom. Stella, I'm sorry, but you don't bring any warm comfort to our lives. Oh, I guess this disgusting little devil who dared to desecrate our bed is more than worthy of that. Do you know how bucking embarrassing it is to hear this in front of our friends? Why do you care? This reflects on me, not you. Oh, it's reflecting off me, you devil-sucking bastard. The girl just watched as her mother continued to rant and finally her father noticed her. Good afternoon, Octavia. The girl raised an eyebrow. Her father was strange in trying to change the subject. Her mother just turned to her and sneered. I see you're still wearing that disgusting cap? Buck, it's like I'm surrounded by people who just want to embarrass me. Octavia sneered. At least I'm choosing what I do with my life, unlike you. What was that? The white-furred owl with pink eyes began to squawk and approached her daughter. But in a rare moment she stopped when she saw her husband standing in front of her. While she could insult the man, She knew he was not someone to provoke as one of the few nobles who is considered a possible replacement for Lucifer if something were to happen to him and his family. Stolas, Prince of Hell, wears his royal red robes with a crown on his head, and his 4 red eyes were focused on Stella, his wife. I think you were about to leave, Stella? Stella snarled. Now show some backbone or try to be responsible. Are you Dash? His eyes darkened and this made the room shake a little. I said you're leaving, right, Stella? The woman grunted and stopped outside the room, making sure not to step on the inside of her dress and leaving to try to ensure that her position among the nobles was saved from her husband's infidelity. Damn, Dad, I didn't know you had it inside you. Why didn't you do that thing that would save us all a lot of headaches? Stolas turned to his daughter and smiled slightly. Sometimes I wonder about myself. He turned her head, making her moan in embarrassment. But back to the point, I called because I wanted to ask you how things are going. Octavia raised an eyebrow. Well, as can be, I guess. Are we done? He was eager to return to his room. Stolas grabbed her by the wrist. Excellent, I think we should spend the rest of the day together. Come on, there's lots to do and lots to buy. Octavia tried in vain to fight her father, but seeing him excited she lost her will to fight him after a few meters. Just like back then, only the fight was calmer. Flashback. Octavia, 5, is terrified. She is sitting in a tent in Lulu Land and watches a robotic monstrosity dancing and clowning around, and its green glowing eyes were scaring her. Her father insisted on a family outing, but why this place of all places was a mystery to her, and she could honestly feel the tension in the back of the room with her parents. Her mother wasn't a fan of this place, but Stolas thought it was the best considering he was dressed for the occasion. Silly hat and all. She saw the robot clown approaching her, and her fear grew second by second. Her hand was close to her face, and she was ready to scream, but soon a hand pulled her back and pushed another child in her place, so they were swept away by the mess. Octavia breathed a sigh of relief, but turned around and saw a Hellhound standing there. Are you okay? Yeah, thanks, Mr. Hellhound. The boy raised an eyebrow. Don't be formal, it's annoying. He looked at the clown and narrowed his eyes. How the hell that thing entertains people is a mystery to me. And honestly, this is the most annoying place I've been in the last year. Octavia was surprised to hear someone a little older than her swear, but she could see the appeal. Who are you? The boy turned his head and smiled. Just a stray dog from hell, I guess. That's what people call me anyway. Looking out at the crowd, he saw the adults completely oblivious to the fact that some of the children were terrified of the clown and thought it was a good joke. So, do you want to see the rest of the park with me? BBB, but my mother always told me dash. The Hellhound rolled his eyes, allowing her to see that his eyes were blue and that he was missing a bit of one ear. Listen, kid, do you want to have some fun? Sometimes you have to be adventurous and willing to break some rules until you find what makes you happy. Taking her hand, he ran out of the store with her, and she followed as best she could in her pink dress. Where are we going? The hound smiled. Have some fun. Without much warning, they ended up in the carnival queues with challenges that allowed you to win prizes. She looked around nervously. Are you afraid someone will come for you? Turning his head. Yeah, you may not know this, but there are quite a few demons out there who would love to attack my dad no matter what. And my mom, I know she'll be furious that I ran away from the store like that. The boy sighed and put his hands behind his head and walked forward without a care. Come on, can't you say your life is happy like that? Living like what? He turned his head slightly. Afraid of every little thing that might happen and the things your parents dictate as absolute. And something you have to do for status or lineage or family honor or other useless shit like that. Octavia's mouth fell open at his dismissal above all. Look! He walked up to one of the booths, and when a small red imp tried to jump on him from the roof, she saw him step to the side and without warning, raise his foot to meet the imp's crotch, leaving him writhing on the floor with a sickening crunch. She swore she saw blood coming from his fingers. If you worry about all those things, then you don't really see what you want or desire in life. Furthermore, you can't live your life. They're living your life, you know? He stepped on the imp's neck and it gave way with a sickening crunch as he put some money on the counter for some baseballs. So how do you live? Octavia was tired of this boy ridiculing her family and acting like he knew more than his parents. Knowing what it meant to live when he wasn't even a noble of any standing. Me? I live my life according to my choices. He threw the first ball, breaking the stacked bottles. I choose how I live, what I eat and drink, when I sleep, when I train, when I want something and how I get it, and ultimately what my life means to be. He threw the second ball, breaking another set, making the owner grunt. No matter what my choice is, what matters to me is what matters to me, and I think others should understand that. He threw his last ball and broke the last set, and raised his hand in the air in triumph. Well, nobles don't have the luxury of freedom that a commoner has. Actually, they have him more than a commoner. He looked her straight in the eyes and picked up another baseball. Without warning, he smiled at the stall owner, jumped up, and landed on his chest before pulling something out of his hand that he'd been hiding. Holding it up, Octavia saw it was a pistol, and without hesitation, she pointed it at the demon and shot him in the head, covering his brain and blood. How do you think nobles have it easier than commoners in the case of freedom? Simple. He looked through the collection the man had at the back of his stand and searched for something. But he found almost nothing until he grabbed something under the cash drawer he was hiding. You nobles can choose how you live and where you live. You can choose who serves you, what you know, what is considered true for nobles and what is considered false. Honestly, you have more freedom than most, and more importantly, you have the power to challenge the very system that was created and change it into something new. However, the choice. He jumped the barrier as he twirled the pistol in one hand and held something in the other. Do you take control of your life and your bloodline, or do you let it dictate you? He then tossed the object to Octavia, who caught it. She looked down and saw it was a black beanie with a small crown sewn onto it. The design was crude, but it was still a nice hat. All that matters is the choices and what you do with them. Make sure you choose what you want to do, okay? Trust me, you'll be happier for it. Octavia looked at the hat, and for the first time in her life, could say without a shred of doubt that she loved this hat. She loved the design and feel of it, and the fact that it was her first gift from what she might assume to be a friend. It was comforting to be surrounded by those who kiss her ass and treat her like she was divine and guiltless. Octavia! Turning slightly, she saw her father and mother running towards her, and without warning her father took her in his arms and hugged her tightly. My little starlight, please don't run away like that again. I was so worried. Octavia frowned and hugged him back. I won't do it, Dad. I just wanted to win a prize, and my friend did it for me. Turning his eyes, he saw the male hellhound looking over the gun and sighing. Looking at the corpse, he was able to figure out what had happened. It was common for an employee to be killed on the job for trying to deceive a customer. Well, that's nice, Dash. Mongrel, how dare you touch my daughter? The dog stared at the owl and didn't even flinch when she approached his face. He just looked at her and rolled his eyes, before turning on his heel and walking away with a wave. Nice to meet you all, have fun. After all, my mom just brought me here to show off how great each other is. Wait a bucking minute! Before Stella could chase the dog, Stolas put a hand on her shoulder, and when she growled at him, he glared back. Touch him and we'll have a fair amount of trouble that won't end with our loss of face. Turning her head to the boy who frowned, she knew who it was. Anyone in the royal lines would say he was famous and known for his unique eyes and missing ear, and it was a good thing he was here otherwise. His family would be extinct for daring to harm him. 2 noble families were already killed after they did something in front of his grandfather, and this led him to massacre them and his family without hesitation. The only good news is that the families who were killed were imbeciles anyway, so no one mourned the end of their line. Setting his daughter down, he notices the hat in her hand. Did that friendly bloodhound give it to you, Starlight? Octavia nodded, but her mother snorted. It's a monstrosity to throw it away now. No child of the Goichia family should dash. No. Stella looked at her daughter, who weakly looked back at her. Stolas looked in shock. What was that? I said no, I want to keep it. I like the hat. He put it on his head, and although it was a little too big now, Stolas could tell it fit him well. Absolutely not. Stella reached for him and Octavia flinched, but her father stood in front of her and prevented Stella from touching her. Enough, if she wants to keep that, I say we let her. I mean, what's the harm after all? She made a very interesting friend today, and I can't wait to see how things blossom from here on out. TCH. That brat will never be anything but a monstrosity in hell. You may think that, but he'll still be there, and you know it. Dad, do you know who it is? Yes. He smiled. He's someone special. Keep an eye out, as I can promise you he'll be someone to be feared when his time comes. Octavia nodded, but what she didn't know was that thinking about him had lit a fire in her, and she wouldn't know what to do with it until she was much older. Flashback extremes. Octavia could only sit in the car and sigh as she dragged one of her fingers along the window and smiled slightly. We will meet again soon and I won't let anyone separate you from me. Stolas looked subtly at his daughter and smiled. Ah, young love. Valentino's Club XXX. Naruto sighed. Opening the door to this place, he was assaulted by all sorts of horrible smells and pheromones running rampant. but he had to endure it for his friend client. Yes, client. Hey you. A small being with a pink head and one eye looked up and pointed its tentacle at Naruto. Oh sir! I'm sorry if I kept you waiting. As you can see, we have another busy day. Hexual puns are a thing too, huh? I'll pay you double your salary for not saying that while I'm here. Excuse Lord Valentino's orders. Naruto rolled his eyes. Look, the moth fanatic, I have a meeting today. I'm not here for anything more than that. Tell him the Hellhound King is here, understood? The little being shuddered. Yes, sir. He quickly grabbed a phone, dialed a number, and put it to his ear. Sir, there's a gentleman here to see you. He says he's the Hellhound King. He nodded. Yes, sir, right away, sir. He hung up the phone and turned to Naruto with a bow. Please follow me. Walking away from the reception, they entered the main floor of the building, and it was just as Naruto imagined. Stripper poles everywhere, scantily clad demons of men and women walking around, some even bucking on the couches and giving blowjobs or even eating women on top of that. Some were serving drinks and others weren't even dressed and had gotten rid of their clothes the moment they entered the building. The room practically smelled so horrible that Naruto covered his nose with one of his hands and closed his ears down to keep out the sounds of slurping, moaning, screaming, and thumping to the point where it's all he hears. Unfortunately, the small servant grabbed an unknown alcoholic beverage and started walking with Naruto quickly following behind him, leading to Naruto avoiding some of the women who tried to grab him the moment he was within range of their claws and even their hooves. Naruto and the demon arrived outside a door that said, VIP. Naruto looked and coughed. I should probably strike first instead of just storming into the room. I might avoid a bullet. He nodded and heard a muffle. Forward! Entering the room, the demon placed the drink in front of his boss and bowed before leaving as fast as his tentacles could carry him. Valentino. Naruto. Her voice had a bit of a staticky quality. What a pleasure to be here now. Turning to the women on the couch. The ladies are giving father some time alone with his guests. Please entertain the guests downstairs. Of course, Mr. Valentino. The girls waved to their boss and blew kisses to Naruto, who simply ignored them, keeping an eye on the jerk in front of him. Sitting in a chair was a blue-skinned, red-eyed demon wearing love curtains, a long fur pimp's robe, and a large red pimp's hat. The man had a small Lilith frame, all things considered, counteracting his height. Furthermore, he only had two of his hands free at the moment, the others occupied by his coat pockets. So, Val took a sip of her drink before taking out her pipe and blowing out a puff of smoke. You've finally come. I knew you were special back then. She pulled a keychain out of her pocket, showing a perfectly preserved severed ear, and Naruto's ear twitched. Yeah, well, at least I don't like abusing and screwing children, you bucking weirdo. Valentino laughed. I'll have you know I don't touch children. I'm many things. A drinker, a businessman, a hex machine. I'll even admit I'm an abuser and user, but the one thing I don't touch is children. Does that cross your mind? Naruto narrowed his eyes. You didn't seem to mind chasing me. Oh? I was going to keep you as my pet, and when you were old enough I'd put you to work. That's continuing to abuse and use children, you sick bastard. Valentino took another drink and with his last hand quickly threw a deck of cards onto the table. The past is the past. Why don't we focus on the present, my dear doggy? Naruto growled before walking over and sitting in the chair across from the idiot. Valentino quickly shuffled the cards and began dealing. So I think you know why I wanted you here, right? Naruto nodded and looked at his hand and kept his face straight. It's about Angel. Valentino nodded, and with a wave of his hand a bag of chips appeared and he soon handed out the chips for the game to really begin. Naruto threw 2 chips to the center. Angel is now with the hotel and that means he's done with your world. Oh, and how do you imagine? He smiled and tossed down 3 chips. After all, the man hasn't complied with anything the hotel has set out. Naruto narrowed his eyes and banged on the table, signaling that he would stay. Valentino did the same, and revealed his hands with him growling in anger as Naruto took 5 chips. He may have had a few failed attempts, but that's to be expected of someone on the mend. But what he doesn't need now is you. Naruto shuffled the deck before dealing the cards. Looking at his hand, he grunts while Valentino smirks. Well, even if he wants to leave, he can't. He pulls his finger out of the flames, and out pops a large scroll titled Contract. He signed a long-term contract with me and my company 5 years ago. Not only does he have to terminate his contract, which he hasn't even fulfilled half of, but he also has to pay back what he owes in terms of debt, which is quite a bit of money. Valentino threw 10 tokens into the center, challenging Naruto to match them. Naruto didn't hesitate and threw 10 chips. They both stand up and then show their hands as Valentino was more angry. How the hell did you get a royal flush? Naruto smiled. Guess I'm so lucky, huh? Sorry, your only attraction is the dildo in your ass. Valentino gritted his teeth before shuffling the cards again while Naruto collected his chips. But if the problem is debt, then tell me how much you owe in total and don't leave a single cent. Valentino handed out the cards. Naruto saw him slide some into his hand and smiled at what he got. He owes me about 10 million. Naruto nodded and picked up another card as he looked at his hand and smiled. Valentino nodded and pushed more chips on the table and got another card, smiling at him. Naruto shook his head, and when they revealed their hands this time, he slammed his fist under the table in fury. What the buck? You beat me so much. I know I should have won. Naruto chuckled as he took more of his chips and then shuffled the cards once more. Want to change games? Looks like poker isn't your strong suit. He then handed over the cards and the Mothman sat down angrily. Just play. Naruto nodded and looked at his hand, but lowered his cards to look at him. I can easily pay the money, and if you try to hide the fact that I paid it or try to pay it where he still owes me, I'll know he trusts me. Valentino snorted. As for the contract, I have something to redeem. Naruto reached into his hoodie and out came another piece of parchment with the word contract on it. But Valentino took a note of the contract. It was in red. Is this dash? Yes, this is a contract from Lucifer. Valentino swallowed. Lucifer's contract. A contract formed with a connection to Lucifer himself. Man makes these contracts to keep track of who keeps his debts and who doesn't, and who can be eliminated and who can't. While normal magical contracts work, someone can write it to suit one party or the other, but in this sense Lucifer balances the contract to favor both parties so that no one is ruined in the end. But if a person breaks their end of the contract, Lucifer will find out and hunt them down, as this means they don't create anything for him to fear, and he won't take it away from anyone. Yeah, Valentino took the contract and read it, while Naruto pushed his chips to the center of the table, making this the last hand of the game. First he was reading calmly, then angry, then annoyed, then understanding, and finally with a big smile on his face. The terms, I can accept these terms. If it means you can do some things for me in return and make sure I make up for my losses with this move. Naruto nodded and Valentino pushed his chips to the center of the table, and after choosing a card they revealed, showing that Naruto has a straight flush and Valentino had a flush. He snorts, well, that's bullshit and not in the fun way where it ends with me covered. Yeah, keep dreaming. Naruto gathered the chips and with a tap of his fingers they all turned into cash before he began putting the bills in his jacket pocket inside his coat. Thank Lucifer for the storage space on this thing. Valentino snorted. Well, tell my dear angel that if he wants to visit, he's more than welcome to do so. But I suppose we can consider our business concluded then? Naruto nodded and after both men signed the contract, he left the room listening to Valentino yelling into the phone about getting some men and women for the service. As he left the building, Naruto sat in the limo. He had been waiting outside this whole time, and he was angry that Xavier didn't listen to him. So, sir, I take it your off-contract business is concluded? Naruto snorted. Don't even buck with me the moment the deal ends somehow or he finds a loophole. He'll try to exploit it. I know that bastard well enough to know he'll never give up on Angel, but that's okay. I'll be ready for the motherbucker. Xavier nodded. Where are we going now, sir? Take me to Giovanni's. I need to party the rest of the day, and honestly, putting on a shit face sounds good right now. Of course, sir, but Lady Charlie will be quite angry. Naruto nodded and sighed. Yes, but I had a long day, so she can complain about me later. Naruto watched as things unfolded until finally, after leaving the Valentino side of town, he saw a club with loud music and people waiting in a long line to get in. Naruto took off his hoodie and, without warning, jumped out of the car and shouted, Come by in the morning, Xavier, tell Mom I told you. Yes, Master Naruto. With that, the limo pulled away and the gate guard, a strange purple man with a loudspeaker in his mouth, saw him and motioned for him to come in. Naruto greeted, before entering the club smiling at the sight of Tex and his girlfriend leaving with the others. Ah, bucket. Naruto let out a howl, which brought the club towards him, and Tex and the others howled too. Who's ready to face the shit? We are! That night, Naruto would barely remember what happened and wouldn't give a damn. Oh, make enough! Naruto growled at Angel. You had to tell the others about my virginity, didn't you, you damn cocksucker? Angel laughed. Hi, Cherry and I were talking and the subject came up. Shit, well? Cherry smiled and laughed. It's okay if you can't lift it or even pack much, You know that old saying, it's not the size that matters, it's what you do with it, Naruto growled. I'm not impotent, and I'm sure the shit isn't small. I just don't feel the need to brag or start anything about it. Angel rolled her eyes as the rest of the room continued on with their day while Verasika listened intently, thinking this would explain his lack of interest in her. Naruto heard this joke, knowing that Angel teases him relentlessly, and is now pissed off that outsiders are saying the same thing. Enough! Without warning or hesitation, he pulls down his pants and underwear, and without warning, the entire room is in shock. Does this look small to any of you motherbuckers? Everyone in the lobby gasped for different reasons. Angel looked at the size of the cock and wondered how the hell he walked, let alone fought, without tripping over it. Cherry is taking some pictures and thinking maybe she should jump that hick when she gets the chance. Alastair is horrified and covers his eyes with his tentacles and emits radio static. Husker just took a gulp and quickly turned away, already feeling inferior to Naruto in the sense that he was putting on some muscle. Vaggie, who entered the room, was stunned into silence and wondered if it was wrong to try her luck while dating her mother, or if it was too weird even for hell. She may be a lesbian, but she can't say she isn't bisexual. Charlie covers his eyes because he doesn't want to see his son like that. Luna, who had entered the building to hang out with Naruto, stood there stunned in silence, in the heat, and taking pictures while fighting her urges to simply ride him or be ridden. Verasika and Nifty simply licked their lips and charged at him, but Charlie quickly stopped them. Naruto, on the other hand, saw cameras outside and groaned. Buck, this is not my day.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.